Welcome to This Week in Wrestling. How's everybody doing tonight? And look, there I am. Look at me go. I can do shit.
You look amazingly.
How is everybody doing tonight? I have the usual suspects. Of course, I have Heather, Bobbit, Trek, Basement, and Gina. How are you guys doing tonight?
Sup?
I am sick, willing, and able.
Fair enough.
I'm tired of dealing with the dumbasses, so that's a plus.
Here we go.
That's what happens when you work for McDonald's.
I need to.
Oh
Yeah,
God, I do
unfortunately,
not
so-
miss my fast food dates at all.
Just give me a little pad.
Yeah, I'll tear this off. Sorry, guys. Go ahead. So, how's everybody doing? We're gonna talk about a little. There's not really too much news, so a lot of the talk tonight will be about King of the Ring. We're gonna be giving our predictions for at least the first round. I'm gonna tell you what I have to think about it. I'm gonna save that for when we get to it, because I wanna speak my mind on it. I know Basement's got some stuff to say about it. I'm pretty sure Gene. I'm pretty sure everybody does. Am I glad it's back? Yeah, not really, because I didn't like King of the Ring the first time, so.
Oh my God,
That's
what's
Fucking
wrong?
hate you.
What is wrong with you? King of Ring was
I just didn't care for it. It wasn't one of those things that I went out of my way to get excited about. Like the Royal Rumble. I don't care about the Royal Rumble's fun, but it's not one of those things that, oh my God. I can wait until
Royal
the
Rumble
final.
used to be. It used to be back in the days when like you never knew who the fuck was gonna show up, but now it's so predictable that it's not even fun anymore.
Yep.
Well, it's because it's been around for almost 30 years, so you kind of know what's going to happen.
Yeah, Nia Jax is gonna come out and invade the men.
Can only do so much with wrestling. We've talked about that before, but
And
I'm not going to be a negative Nancy about it. I just King of the Ring.
Somehow, I doubt that.
No, you're right. Yeah, I'm going to shit all over it. I promise you. I promise I will do that. I will do my typical fucking JP and shit on it. Let's start off with the top story. Kind of the top story, the big news of the day. Roman Reigns signed a new multi-year contract.
The big dog!
Typical. You knew it was coming. He ain't going anywhere.
no,
Ever.
He tweeted out himself, WWE is his home, he's not going anywhere ever, so.
No. They've done him right. They've treated him good. So why leave?
and not only that, but the way that the storyline is going with him right now, they're doing it right finally.
This and I were you there? We talked about this. What they're doing with him now is what they should have done with him before.
Yeah, they should have been doing this from the beginning because, like, you know that they're still building him and they're still pushing him, but they're not pushing him down our throats. It's more of a slow build.
Right.
I feel like that statement could be applied to all of WWE. What they're doing with them now is what they should have done before.
True.
Right.
Fucking
True.
OC, Bray Wyatt, you
True.
name it.
Well, we'll talk about Ray Wyatt too, because I want to talk about him because
I love
there's some
him.
talk about him too. Fucking cares. Anyway.
Not him.
Yeah, so Roman, there's no details on his contract. I don't get into details. I just know that the WWE put out on social media that he signed a new multi-year deal. WWE usually doesn't give out details on contracts like that until
This
after.
is.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say this is like the second or third time that they've done that within the past couple of months, and I think that it's kind of in an effort to beat the dirt sheets.
It is.
I
A
think
lot
so,
of it
too.
is because they've even started on NXT. They are on the WWE website. They've even started giving spoilers for NXT. Everybody knows it's taped.
Yeah.
So either way, you're gonna find out. Who cares? It's not that big of a fucking deal. If you don't, the internet has made wrestling to the point where does it really fucking matter? Somebody's saying, well, Adam Cole loses the title at this NXT event. Are you gonna watch it? I would. Let's revert back to fucking when WCW said,
Don't change
Don't
the
change
channel
the
because
channel.
Mankind is winning the title tonight.
exactly. So what? I'm gonna want to watch it. Fuck it. I'll watch it. I don't care. But that's not happening. I'm just giving an example.
Yeah.
But that's because like wrestling is not necessarily results based. It's everyone wants to see how it unfolds. It's not
Yeah.
just the bottom line.
Yes, that's the thing. I want to see what happens. How did Adam Cole losing the belt happen? What took place? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, and prime example of that is like when people are watching the G1. If you see somebody like, say, I don't know, Will Ospreay versus Kazuchika Okada, you know chances are that Will Ospreay is going to lose, but you still know it's going to be a great match. So you want to see, like, you want to see the match play out, even though you ultimately know the result.
Exactly, and I'm okay with that. I have no problems with spoilers. I know that when I first started the chat that we have, not the one that, not the writers' rooms and stuff like that, but the drama-free chat, I said no spoilers, and then I got to thinking, I'm like, why does it even fucking matter? Somebody's going to find them anyway, and something's going to happen, because I do it to Gina all the fucking time.
I hate you for it, but...
I don't know. It's just one of those things. I don't care about spoilers. I'm still gonna watch. It's not gonna make me not want to watch the match. It's not. Next thing on the agenda is Nia's Twitter is gone for now.
I wish she would go with it.
I wish she would go with it too. She can straight up piss off.
Dude, guys, she's just like the Roman Reigns, though. She's part of that, NOI, or however you say it. Part of that family, and that Vince pretty much sucks the cock of anybody in that family. So she's not
Roman
going
Reigns
anywhere.
Can wrestle. She can hardly
and I
move.
agree. And I agree. I completely 110% agree with you. There's certain members of that family that deserve to be there. I'm going to say pretty much everybody except for Nia Jax. But because of who she is, she's not going anywhere.
I'm gonna say this, and I think I said it. I know I said it before we even started this show. I don't care if it's Stone Cold Steve Austin's daughter. If she can't wrestle, get her the fuck out of my TV. I don't want to fucking see it.
Personally, I think that, like, I personally, and I think you guys agreed earlier, but I think that they're repackaging her, which is why her Twitter is gone. That's why her Instagram is down. All of that shit. They're repackaging her.
She's gonna come back as Sister Abigail. Anyway.
She's like the big show of the women's division.
She is.
She's heel, she's face, she's there, she's big.
Yep. Bobbit, Trek, anything? I know Bobbitt's a big fan of Roman Reigns. What do you think about Roman Reigns signing a new multi-year deal?
I like it because, I want to see more Roman. I like seeing Roman.
I like seeing Roman too.
Trek, what about you? Good talk. What about Nia's Twitter being gone? Do you think there's something other than they're repackaging her, or do you think that...
Honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think you see anything more than they're just redoing her character.
They need to rebuild her completely.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you think about it, that them taking her Twitter down and her Instagram and all that, it makes sense for repackaging her, especially if she's going to come back as a heel, because on her Twitter, she's very smiley, she's interacting with fans, same with Instagram. So if they're going to bring her back as a heel, and if they're going to do it right, then all of that shit needs to be gone.
But this is a big problem, and I think it's more of a big problem with the women's division, where there's like, kayfabe doesn't exist at all. In the women's division, if you look at social media and the characters they portray, it's definitely the person that they are on social media and then the character that they are in the ring, where it happens a lot for the men's division too, but it's on a bit less of a scale, I guess.
Right.
But I also think the women's division find more popularity in social media than the men's.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I don't think anybody was here. What did you guys think of Sasha Banks' return? I don't think we've spoken about that on the internet at all. What did you guys think of that? I know we talked about it on Wednesday, but Gina, basement.
Man, I mean,
is the best thing that fucking Monday Night Raw had. The best segment they had on that fucking show.
I will agree. I like the new look. I don't really know what they're going to be able to do with her as far as being any different than the old heel Sasha. I'm hoping that they bring back heel Sasha from NXT.
I think that's what they're doing.
I think so, because she was definitely a lot more vicious this past Monday than she ever was any other heel turn.
Even when she first came up, I don't ever remember seeing her this vicious.
So. No, and that part I liked. Not a big Sasha Banks fan myself, but if they're gonna make her the way that she was in NXT, then I'm all for it.
Yep, I mean, me and Trek had it out fucking Wednesday about fucking Sasha. If you haven't seen that, go watch our fucking review, because I call bullshit on the fucking why they kept her off fucking TV. I think they kept her off TV just to make the absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Not only that, but I honestly think that she needed some time.
There, correct?
Yeah, I was at that.
How huge was the pop when she came out? I mean, was it good? Size pop?
It was huge. It was like the biggest pop of the night. Everybody got on their feet for the most part. But I mean, I don't think she's gonna keep that viciousness up. That's the one thing. Like, she came out with it, and I think it was to sell the turn. But I don't think she's going to be beating people with chairs left, right, and center for the rest of her heel run. I think she's going to kind of fold back into the Sasha Banks heel that we saw in NXT, which is great. It's what she needed to be from the beginning.
Yes.
Great. As for her look, I don't think what we saw is exactly what we're going to see, because she had to come out looking the same. Mm-hmm. And then she revealed the hair color change, but I think she also needs to go through like a wardrobe repackaging, because she can't be coming out looking like Eddie Guerrero and get over as a heel.
But Eddie Guerrero spent most of his career as a heel.
But he's not remembered as that. He's remembered very fondly, so you can't be paying homage to a guy and be a heel. It just doesn't make sense.
He was only
but if she does the I cheat, I steal gimmick, then she could.
I don't. I only remember Eddie Guerrero being a heel for maybe 5 months in WWE.
He was like a lovable heel.
Yeah, he was like the lovable heel, because when he came out and he's I lie, I cheat, I steal. Like, he had heel tactics, but he was also a babyface. He was one of those guys that went right down the middle.
Yeah, but Sasha Banks, I think, needs to kind of get away from that, because she doesn't need to be lovable.
I will say, like, and I didn't get to have that conversation with you guys where you were talking about, like, her time away and stuff like that. I think, I look at Sasha Banks and I kind of take her as, like, she's a huge wrestling mark. She loves wrestling. So I can't believe that maybe there's some truth to her being like, I'm not happy with where I am or whatever, but I think they played it up hugely on social media to get the fans thinking that, so that the return had more impact. I don't think there was any question of keeping her off TV for 4 years. That makes no sense.
But if you think about it, like with a lot of these people that are coming back and they're getting repackaged, like Nia and Bray Wyatt, for example, they were either injured or they were sick, that kept them off of TV for a while. And like with Bray Wyatt, they just decided to extend that. But with Sasha, if obviously she got kind of repackaged, not really, she just kind of got brought back to what she was. But even still, I think she needed some time away. And I think the company thought it was a good idea to keep her off TV. So I think those two things kind of coincided together. And she was able to take that time to kind of regroup herself and focus on what she wants her character to be going forward.
It's also prime opportunity for them to bring in another top-level heel talent in the women's division. Now that, like, there's been injuries, there's been changes, and who else is going to go against Becky Lynch at this point in time?
Well, I don't think they're going to take the title off for a Clash of Champions. I mean, they could, but I think it'll probably be at a later pay.
All I have to say is I called it. I called it for the wrong show, but I still called it. I told you that she was going to come out against Becky.
I never said she wasn't. I said I wouldn't be surprised. See, everybody?
No, I'm not like attacking you. Calm down. But
I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen.
Yeah, but you said it was going to be Bayley.
I thought it could. I said it could be Bayley. Yes, I would have preferred it to be Bayley. But because there is really absolutely positively nobody besides Charlotte, and we have that fucking argument to take the title off of fucking Bayley. Sasha Banks and their history over the last year and a half would have been perfect. It would have been more perfect than Becky. But I can't argue against the Becky thing.
I think it's also to separate those two from each other.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I don't know if I wanted to see that again.
They've been attached at the hip since they joined the main roster in one way or the other, so it's kind of good to get a fresh breath of air and leave her alone. If you remember, when they all came up, Becky was playing like back fiddle to everybody. She was not really that. She didn't have much of a run on the main roster compared to the other three.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that she's getting that, and the other three are taking a back seat, I like to see it now where Bayley and Sasha do not interact for a while.
Okay. I mean,
You see, Becky kind of did because she was the first ever SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yeah, but she was never really. I mean, how long did she hold the title for? I mean, she held it for 2 months, I think, and then fucking they put it on Alexa Bliss. But
she was I'm going to say okay, so because Bayley didn't get pulled up with them, but out of the others, she was the least memorable of what they actually did with them.
Yes. Bless you.
Thank you.
I was gonna make a point about Sasha too. I forgot.
Well, while you think about that, I would say that like I'm looking at this move, the Bray Wyatt move, the Nia Jax move, this and we talked about this a little bit, but we never really got into it. This almost seems like a soft reset for WWE, leading into where they move SmackDown away and hopefully do a draft that's actually legitimate. They seem to try to be putting pieces into place. And that's with the Brock Lesnar losing to Seth Rollins. Not everything is making sense, but I feel like they're making the moves that they need to be the company they want to be moving forward.
Right.
It's positive, but I also hate it at the same time.
It's going too fast. They have over a month.
It took. Okay, so they made moves a couple months ago that make no sense now. It just shows me that they had no idea what they wanted to do until recently, and they're like, just do whatever, and we'll fix it when the time comes.
Well, and that I think that can also, like, that coincides with Bischoff and Heyman taking over. Like, you can definitely see since they've taken over how the scripts have kind of been wiped clean, and they're starting completely from scratch.
But I don't
It's definitely a breath of fresh air, even if it's not the freshest air. It's still, it's got me a bit more interested in watching their weekly program, and that's just because I am anticipating that actual division and the move to Fox for SmackDown to be something, a huge opportunity for WWE to make a change to their programming.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I agree, and I still can't think of what I was going to say about Sasha.
All right.
No, it's okay. It had something to do with.
It's gonna be the boss versus the man.
I can't remember what it was. I like the way that they did Sasha. It was the best thing they did on Monday Night Raw, in my opinion.
I did enjoy the Cedric Alexander and McIntyre match.
That was
Yes.
the best
It wasn't
match
long,
of
but
the
it was a
night.
great
That
match.
People on Twitter after the show was over was like, the best thing about Raw tonight. The best thing about Raw tonight was Sasha Banks.
Yeah, the
They
best
said,
match
well, no,
was that.
the best match of the night was Sasha Banks and then Drew McIntyre. I'm like, no, Sasha Banks was not in a match. She just came out and beat the shit out of Becky Lynch.
Yeah, that was the best moment
It's
of
the
the
best
night.
segment of the night. Best match of the night by far was Cedric and Drew McIntyre. I could totally.
What, you didn't like The Miz versus Ziggler?
Are you fucking kidding me? I don't care.
I almost feel like they should have saved the heel turn for Sasha. And I mean, yeah, it would be a bit more like everyone would see it coming, but it was kind of, I saw it coming anyway when it was happening. I would prefer that to be the end of the night over what was.
That's what I
Yeah.
was gonna talk. We were sitting there watching this, and Sasha came out wearing that frumpy looking fucking hairdo, and I'm like, she's turning fucking heel. She is going to take that off, and she's going to beat the shit out of fucking
Well,
Natalya.
It was kind of, you could tell anyway, because, like, she came out, and Basement, I think you and I were talking about this.
Yeah.
She came out and interrupted Natalya right as she was starting to talk about her deceased father in their hometown.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was
like,
at Raw, that's exactly what I said. I was like, okay, so Sasha's back, but she's got to be heel because she's interrupting her during the speech about her deceased father, and she's fucking prancing out to the ring, and she goes to the side and hugs the kid. I'm like, okay, so I'm confused now, because and I mean they got me in the end because they kind of threw the curveball with her hugging kids to be like, okay, well maybe she's still a face. So that I liked to like build up a little bit more of the believability or the unpredictableness of the heel turn.
Yeah,
mhm.
I did like the way they did that. I knew as soon as she come out wearing that god awful wig that she was turning heel, and it did confuse me too. Why is she hugging the girl? Because she's gonna fucking beat the shit out of Natalia in like 2 minutes.
All I'm
But
saying
One
is
thing-
if she doesn't make kids cry, she's not the heel I want.
right? One thing that I really did like with that whole segment, including like the Becky segment, is I think that they did Becky Lynch right in the same sense with that as well, because okay, they had her talking shit, mad shit against Natalia before SummerSlam, right?
yeah,
Well, then she beats Natalia, and I loved what they did with Becky on Monday Night Raw, where Becky was like,
you
okay,
hunt me,
I'll
I'm
give
gonna hunt you. Yeah,
yeah, I'll give it to her, but but in the same sense, I love when they brought Becky out to defend Natalia too, because that kind of it tells me that they're stopping pushing Becky down our throats quite as much as they were. Like she's the man, but she's not the man that's being shoved down our fucking throats every single night with her I can't be touched shit.
Well, if you look at it too, the booking makes sense. You had two people that were both basically faces fight each other at the pay-per-view, which is Natalia and Becky Lynch. And then you had Becky win, and Natalia comes out, but before that happens, Becky's in the back saying, I respect her. She brought the fight to me, and it was, whatever. And then it gives credence for her coming out to try to protect her and then getting her ass beat with a chair.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole thing just made sense.
Yeah.
Trek, I know me and Trek had this discussion. I mean, it got heated.
Mhm.
Are you back, Trek? Or are you sleeping? Okay, you're sleeping. We'll come back to it. Maybe. But yeah, that was the best thing about the week, in my opinion.
I had a quick question before we move on because I know we're going to leave Raw behind. And I asked Gina, but she was saying she was like busy or didn't see it. During the Seth Rollins AJ Styles match,
yeah.
did you see AJ give the suck it to the crowd?
No.
Okay, so it must have been commercial break. So they were like rest holding, and the crowd starts cheering CM Punk.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. It was. Look, again, I say this all the time. Fuck CM Punk. I don't fucking care. He's never coming back.
I don't
Well, it's
think
the downside.
With the
it's
bullshit.
not necessarily even something that people want to see happen anymore. It's just something that people chant because they know that it's going to piss the wrestlers off in the
Well,
ring.
I feel like it's the CM Punk and boring chants go hand in hand. CM Punk is a bit more respectable than the boring chants, but it's not really. But anyways, it was when they took commercial break and nobody in the audience really knows. They start getting into a rest hold, and everybody's expecting this match to be what AJ Styles and Seth Rollins could do, and they're just fucking hugging in the middle of the ring. And they start going off CM Punk. AJ Styles throws Seth Rollins to the ground, turns around, suck it, and then the crowd exploded, man.
Yeah.
I can believe it. Yeah, I do want to talk. Let's talk about Bray Wyatt or the Fiend. Okay, I know we watched the pay-per-view. I'm gonna say this: the only thing I liked about Bray Wyatt that I can say is good right now, because he's still fucking Bray Wyatt to me. There's nothing until he does something.
Yeah,
Until he does
that's because
something else, I don't care.
that's
I think
because
you're saying
he
he's
was
still
never
booked
supposed to be
like Bray
trying.
Wyatt.
They never tried to change him from being Bray Wyatt. Like he is still Bray Wyatt. It's just he's Bray Wyatt repackaged, which I absolutely fucking love. Like they took the old character of Bray Wyatt and they made it 100 times better.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I disagree with that.
Okay, so I think what you're relying on
the only
is-
thing. Go ahead, basement.
I think what you're relying on is waiting until you see how he's booked. Because
Yes.
the biggest problem with Bray Wyatt has always been how he has been booked.
Mhm.
Not necessarily the problems with his character. His character has always gotten over. The one thing I will say with the character they have now, there's more direction to his character. He doesn't go off on these nonsensical tirades. His what he does in the Firefly Funhouse is actually like alluding to certain things, even though sometimes it's just goofy bullshit. But I want to see what they do with him booking. I can't understand though not liking how he was handled in that pay per view, just in a bubble, not long term because we won't know that.
No, no. Now you let me finish. I did not like the Fiend is not the Fiend. It is Bray Wyatt. Okay, I didn't mind the match. My issue with the match was, and we talked about this, is they should have had Finn Balor disappear with him.
That I can agree with.
Because, I mean, the way that the Undertaker, when there was a time when the Undertaker would beat somebody up, and they would disappear with the Undertaker, like he would take him to the depths of hell or whatever.
Mhm.
They didn't do that. That's one issue. But the one thing that I do like is his entrance music. I did like the remix. Even though it's the same song, I did like the remix. That is the one thing that I will take away from the Bray Wyatt thing that I did care for.
I think that there's so many different aspects of his new entrance that people are still trying to pick up on. Like, I mean, there was like 10 things that I missed in his new entrance
I don't care
when I
for
was
his
first
lantern.
watching
I don't
for
care
SummerSlam.
I don't care for his lantern.
Oh, I love his lantern. Like, it's
like I
amazing.
said,
It's Bray Wyatt's head. Like, it's the old him.
I'm going to be honest with you. I never really cared for Bray Wyatt, period. So
I mean that I'm not looking to change anybody's opinion, so I'm just going to state my own. I really did like the entrance. I really did like the repackaging. There's so many reasons why I like the entrance. I will say it's like not a full reboot of Bray Wyatt. It's a change in Bray Wyatt, where everyone still knows he's Bray Wyatt, but he's something else. And it works within his character that they built, where he was always kind of like a vessel to be taken over. That was even the old Bray Wyatt with Sister Abigail bullshit. So it kind of leads back to that. The entrance itself, I mean, I don't think there's a kid out there that wouldn't be scared by it, which is nice to see.
My daughter was
WWE
terrified.
finally going that way. I like his in-ring demeanor. I've always liked Bray Wyatt in-ring as a wrestler. He wrestles a bit different than most people, and he's like, when I say Randy Orton, I mean like he has his character in-ring, just like he's his character out-ring. Like he doesn't wrestle just like a prototypical wrestler. He actually moves like his character, and he's got these moments of not knowing who he is and shit like that.
Yeah,
That was one of the best, maybe probably the best thing for me about SummerSlam because.
I will say, as far as like rumors about his booking, and I know JP, we've talked about this. From what I'm hearing, WWE has, they're basically planning. Now, again, this is just rumor, but they're planning on keeping him kind of locked away a little bit. You're not going to see Bray Wyatt every week, which I think I was going to say that is a great thing. I don't want to see him every week. I certainly don't want to see the Fiend every week either. Even the Firefly Fun Houses, they said that those are going to be kind of more sporadic. It's going to be for every time that he has a impending feud coming up, then the Firefly Fun Houses are going to start. But you're not going to see them week after week after week, just like you're not going to see the Fiend unless he actually is coming after somebody.
Now, if they can change how, if they can continue doing the way they're doing with Bray Wyatt, then I might be able to get behind it. It's just I have this fear, and I know Basement does. Can WWE keep booking this guy? This guy cannot even have what happened with that match at SummerSlam is exactly the way, and I agree, the way the match was booked was perfect. He should squash everybody he meets. And no, people, I don't want him fucking wrestling who's everybody wanting fucking Bray Wyatt to take on now.
Aleister
The
Black.
demon.
Yeah, no,
Aleister Black.
keep
Aleister
them
Black
two
makes
the
no
fuck
sense.
away from each other, because if you
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
who are you gonna beat? Who are you gonna
Yeah.
beat?
Well, and the thing is too, like with the demon. Obviously, we know once Finn comes back, we're gonna get the demon versus the fiend. But I'm okay with this because I feel like there's somewhere, even if the demon loses, I think that he could fall back and he could go and join the OC and he could still be fine. Whereas if Bray Wyatt loses, they fucked his character.
I'm gonna say okay. So a little bit of fantasy booking here, but I'm not gonna go off the rails and go crazy with it. With Bray Wyatt, we shouldn't see him much unless a feud started, like you guys said, and then that feud should be highlighted in the Firefly Funhouse. Then it should culminate at a pay-per-view. I would personally book the guy to not lose for at least a year or so. If we're only going to see him spotted throughout, and when he does lose, make it be because he's struggling with that. Like it's already shown in the ring that he's struggling, kind of trying to keep control
Mm-hmm.
with his fucking movements, and make him lose because of that instead of actually just flat out lose because of his opponent. It'll at least keep some of his mystique alive.
Correct. He should be booked to be invincible, essentially.
Yeah.
Not indestructible. Just,
Ow, my knee.
but yeah, so it's going to take time. And look, and there was something that I was going to talk about. Triple H had said it, and I think Trek or somebody put it in in the writers' room about long-term booking. WWE will never
I commented on
Okay.
it on your time.
long-term booking. I don't see it happening, with the simple fact of what Triple H put out.
I feel like if they only do long-term booking for that, maybe it can work.
Yeah, they have to. They can't do long-term booking for. It needs to be a main feud for them to long-term book.
Or a spotted feud, like somebody that doesn't come around too often. That should be pretty easy to
It
book.
should be, but we'll see. We'll see.
You would think it would be.
Well, that's the problem with WWE.
That's exactly
Right?
what I was just going to
Well,
say.
and the problem is, like, a lot of people are blaming the writers and stuff, but, like, I know that a lot of times, actually, I think that this might have happened just this past SummerSlam weekend, actually. The writers basically, or no, I'm sorry, not SummerSlam weekend. I think it was Raw before SummerSlam. When the writers basically said that they had to come in that day and they had to rewrite the entire script because Vince didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that's the case, then I think that they need to start writing the script a little bit more ahead of time. And that way Vince has time to go over these scripts. And if he doesn't like something, they have time to change it. And we're not getting shit thrown together
Right.
at the last minute.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Listening to Bruce Pritchard's podcast,
It's
could
been
Vince
that way
Vince could
forever.
love it week in advance, and then he'll like, yeah, I want to change it. Everybody needs to come in. So
Yeah.
Vince is one of those guys. If he thinks of something, he's going to change it anyway.
He's indecisive, yeah.
Well, it's not that he's indecisive.
He's an impulse thinker.
Yeah, he's an
Oh,
impulse
gotcha.
thinker.
Okay.
So, and he's always been like that.
I will say, like where Cardinal works at the ACC, it's like the backstage. It's right by the backstage area for the wrestlers, but also they cordon off an area for the writing room.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, he talked to the writers, and the writer was like, he's like, I really like what you guys are doing with Bray Wyatt, and the writer was like, oh, really? That's the first time we heard somebody like something we do.
Well,
Nice.
it's like that article was put out about Triple H. I replied to it, and as I said, I could have told everybody. Between the internet and dirt sheets spoiling the ending months in advance for long-term storytelling, and then you have the fan base that sits there and goes, well, I don't have the patience to wait 3
It's another
weeks for
reason
this
why.
to actually get going, so give it to
Well,
me now.
It's not to get going. It's to actually culminate into where they're going. Today's society and people today want answers now. They don't want answers 2 months down the road, and that's
Which-
sad because that's what wrestling needs. It
You
needs
only
more.
need to long-term book the main event and one or two other segments. Everything else does not need it.
No, I agree.
Well, and if you think about it too, like there are ways of long-term booking to where you can still keep the fans on their toes.
And the
You
way
know, I mean,
WWE long-term books is not the way to do it. Continuing
Yeah.
the feud.
right.
Because
when
that's
you
how
end
they...
up with these 5-6 matches in a row
Mm-hmm.
with the same
Mm-hmm.
people. It's just like
You
Well,
have two wrestlers that gave a 5-star match in a fucking another promotion, and then you fucking have them wrestle 6 times in a fucking row.
well, and you know the thing is too. I think that people long for the wrestling that we used to have back in like the 90s, early 2000s, but in the same sense, they don't realize that the wrestling world is not the same as it was back then. Because back then we were able to get the you know, we had the Stone Cold Rock feud, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many fucking times in a month did we see the Stone Cold and the Rock face each other in some way, shape, or form, whether it was in a tag team, a 6-man tag, one-on-one, whatever.
You're right. It was weekly.
But I think
Exactly.
like
But
the
people
talking point
can't do
is the
that now.
one-on-ones we see all the time. And I mean, when it comes down to it, people don't realize that the WWE now is 80% of their roster is like great talent. Like the obvious fix back in the day was to have your lower card, mid card handle the majority of the work, and then only highlight the big stars when you wanted to. But everybody's a big star now. Like they have too much talent to do it that way. So you have to have these fucking
Mhm.
one-on-one feuds that wrestle 10
Well,
times before it's done.
and the problem with having so many big talents too is you get in situations like, for instance, with AJ versus Ricochet. Um, some people are going, there's no way that AJ should lose that title back to Ricochet.
No.
But then there's, and I agree, but then there's other people that are like, well, Ricochet just got called up and he needs, you know, AJ's already established. Ricochet needs to get established and he's so good, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's the problem with having so many like amazing athletes is you're never going to be able to please the fan base as a whole.
Right.
But-
But the thing with Ricochet, yes, he Ricochet is one of those guys, he'll be over no matter if he wins or loses. Yes, he'll win more than he loses, but putting the title on him, they did it too early. Make him chase something.
Well, honestly, make the titles mean more by having less of them and do more tournament-based things that mean something, like the winner gets something that takes up time because you have to book every week multiple shows. Do things that the winner gets something, not necessarily the winner gets the title. This is why I really like the idea of bringing the King of the Ring back, and even the way that they're doing it makes more sense to me than do it all at one pay-per-view. You're now filling a month of booking, hopefully, with a tournament,
Right.
which means you don't have to really book too hard for those matches. They write themselves.
And you know,
Not only
like
that, you're
when it,
rotating. Sorry, Gina.
go ahead, Heather. No, go ahead.
You're rotating talent in and out with using these tournaments because you're getting those people that have not been on TV.
Exactly.
You got Shelton Benjamin, EC3, and Chad Gable in this King of the Ring tournament.
You know, and then when it comes to tournaments as well, you don't have to have like this big long tournament all the time necessarily. You can have a bunch of like smaller tournaments to where it's like number one contendership for the IC title or number one contendership for the US title. It doesn't just have to be for that main card title, and it doesn't have to be a gigantic month-long tournament.
Hell, it could even be for the moniker of being King of the Ring. You might not get anything, but I will say, like, they have like the idea of somebody working through a tournament gives them credence, gives them some reason to be challenging instead of out of the blue. Yeah, you get an IC title shot. Now, yeah, you get a world title shot. Like, why is this person fighting? Why are they chosen out of the whole roster to be able to fight for this title?
Right. We'll talk about the King of the Ring. That'll be probably the last thing we talk about. No, it's okay. I mean, it's part of the discussion. I don't mind it. I mean, I was gonna bring that up anyway with some of the championships that we have anyway. Well, we talked about it, so we hit a spot we didn't even need to cover. Edge.
Well.
No.
Oh my God.
Are you gonna
Tuck
say
it back
something
in, DJ Skinny
valuable?
Penis.
Are you gonna say something valuable, or are you just gonna say motherfucker all fucking day?
I will be right back.
Masking.
Motherfucker.
No. Such a douche. Trek, what do you think about any of this, all of this that we've talked about so far? Good talk.
Holler if you hear me. Nobody hears you.
Holla, holla, holla.
So Edge, apparently he put out and said that, and I don't know who even said it, I just seen it before he came on here. Edge said that he thinks he could go one more time, or he could wrestle again. I'm like, no. I don't want to see it.
No,
I
there's
think
no way.
if he feels that he can, by all means do it, but if you get hurt, I don't want to fucking hear it.
Even if he doesn't get hurt, even if there's no chance of him ever getting hurt, it doesn't make any sense. Like, to what end are we talking about here? Is it just like he's not come to terms with his retirement? And I mean, I don't like. I mean, Edge is great. Don't get me wrong. It's just like,
Right.
what is anybody getting out of this?
Right. And I don't care. I mean, we talked about it with the interjet. Where is it going? What's going to come of it? What are they going to get, a fucking Saudi Arabia match in fucking between Goldberg and Edge? I mean, come
God,
on.
please no.
It'll be
Oh,
these one-off
God.
fucking
Please don't.
Legends matches that seem to plague the WWE.
Yes.
The only hold on. The only thing that I would want to see, not even want to see, but if they're going to do anything with Edge, then you have Edge versus Christian.
I don't think Christian can.
Christian can't.
Christian's fine.
I thought he had like concussion problems.
He can't.
I
WWE won't let him.
maybe.
WWE won't let him because of concussion.
Well, then I don't want to see.
But even then, it's like you're building a storyline off of two guys that aren't even on TV, and yeah, you could do it, but you'd have to do it in backstage segments. I just don't see the the problems with it far outweigh the benefits of it.
Yeah.
There's too much. There is way too much talent on the roster now that needs to be addressed.
Agreed.
And I think moving NXT to 2 hours might actually really help them, because they're going to have to allot some talent's going to have to go back to NXT.
Yep. And that's going to be our next segue. Apparently, that Trek, he's not here. He's falling off the call. NXT might move to USA on Wednesdays. That's the report out there. I don't know how credible that is. I don't care. Discuss. NXT's gonna do it. They're gonna do with NXT what they last week. You talked about them going to FS1. Now this week we're talking about them going to USA. People are asking, are you still gonna have a fucking network if NXT leaves? I've seen some stupid ass people say no. I say, look, if NXT goes off of the network and you cancel your subscription, you're a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You're a fucking idiot.
Right?
I don't know how true this is, but Why Society's saying FS1 has basketball on Wednesdays now. That's why. If there's a conflict of scheduling, that's the only way that this would make sense. I think it's a much better home for them to be on Fox Sports than it is USA.
That is true. That is true. They do have basketball on Wednesdays, but that only lasts like 3 months. So, I don't know.
I think the place for the network is the place was always been the network for NXT, but I understand why.
Well, okay,
Go ahead, Bob.
if basketball interferes with NXT, they can always put NXT on FS2 or regular Fox. They have options.
They do, but I don't know if they'll go to FS2 because not many people have FS2. If they're gonna go to FS2, they might as well just stay on fucking the network.
Right.
I will say this: the only major benefit that I see of them going to USA would be they're gonna reach those areas that they're not reaching with the network right now. Like down south, for instance. I know I keep on bringing this up, but my uncle does not have the WWE network. He doesn't have the internet at his house.
Mm-hmm.
All he has is satellite. So if they put it on USA Network, then he's going to have access to it when he never did before. And that's a lot of people down south.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not saying they don't need to. They need to make a decision. No, they don't need to make a decision. I think it's fine where it's at. But if they do go to USA, or if they do go to FS1, or if they do go to FS2, or if they go to NBC, Who knows? Because USA is owned by NBC.
Hmm.
You didn't know that. So they could do that. I don't know. We'll see.
The
Either
only
way,
thing I care about is if they go to wherever they go, that they don't take fucking commercial breaks in the middle of matches. That's gonna kill NXT, man.
I agree. I agree. I just had to bring that up right there. Gina, actually, no, we're not gonna get to this last thing first about AEW. You said you had something about AEW.
Yes, AEW, both shows have sold out. JP, I know before you say it, I know you don't care,
I don't care.
but this is a huge deal for them or whatever. My issue with this, and I love AEW, I do, I love AEW, but AEW keeps on selling out because their hardcore fans are buying tickets and they're flying across the United States to go to these shows. How long are they going to be able to keep that up is my question.
Not very, because that gets expensive.
Exactly.
I looked. You have to be rich to fly. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to say this. How many times did I fly last year? Like 5, 6 times. If I was to pay for my ticket, it would have cost me. I would not be able to eat for a month.
Yeah. You know, so like
It cost me it didn't cost me. I didn't have to pay for the ticket, but if I did, it would have cost me $1,000 round trip, because you got to include, you got a hotel, you got fucking and the flight itself costs $1,000. Okay, round trip.
where the fuck are you flying through? Because you can get tickets for like $337 round trip.
I got to go through a website.
Whatever his job pays.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't
okay.
get to pick my flights. I don't get to pick my
I was gonna say,
flights.
damn.
I'm just saying, there's some flight. I've had like 3 or 4 flights where, and 2. You got to remember, I live in a small, desolate area, so
he's got to take
price.
2 flights.
I got to take. Well, no, it's not that. The fewer the flights, the more the cost is.
Right.
So if I fly out of Dubuque, which I've had to a couple of times, it costs $1,000 for a one-way ticket.
Wow, that's insane. But I mean, okay, so like my main issue with this is sooner or later the fans are not going to be able to keep this up. Okay, so I'm hoping by the time that comes around, that AEW will have that kind of more broadened fan base to where they're not going to have to worry about things like that. However, with Cody Rhodes basically blatantly saying that he's not going to worry about casual fans.
But he should worry about casual fans. I'm sorry.
I agree with that. But your casual fans, like the people scrolling through the TV, are going to be the ones that could possibly turn into new fans. So if you're not worrying about the people that could possibly turn into new fans, then how the fuck do you expect to maintain these sold out tickets?
There's multiple things happening right now, because they aren't going to be, I don't think at least, that they aren't going to be looking at the venues they have looked at for their single pay-per-views. When they have a TV show running, they will not be selling out big venues.
Right.
They will be a bit smaller scale first, and then they can sell it out. I also want, like, nothing can really be said in too much until they're about 8 months to a year within their TV deal to see how things are going. But to say you're not caring about casual fans, do you think every fan starts off hardcore? Like, there's a stepping stone to becoming a hardcore fan.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like Cody Rhodes is saying that he's not gonna worry about those like new fans. Well, how
Just
the
said a bunch of
fuck?
stupid shit. We're not competing with WWE. Let me go break this throne.
I mean, I love AEW. I'm just really, really hoping that they're going to be able to continue to sell tickets once the fan base goes broke, pretty much.
I think they're going to have to, like I said, look at smaller venues.
Yep. And two, like, I mean, it costs $1,000 for the plane ticket, plus you have to get a hotel, plus you have to get a rental car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not cheap. It's not cheap for to fly and go to all these events. And if they're going to be doing this weekly, you better be rich. Because I'm just telling you, it's not. You're not going to be able to fucking afford it.
Yeah.
Has AEW come out with like a pay-per-view schedule at all?
No. Right now, it's just that they're basically announcing the weekly TV schedule.
So I will guaranteed that it's going to be max 5 pay-per-views a year.
I agree. Which is what I think wish WWE go back to.
But I mean, I think that they have done it smart so far because they've hit on the big, so far, they have 3 shows now. And so far with those 3 shows, they have hit on the big wrestling towns, which is exactly what they need to do when they're first starting to build up. However, I want to see what that venue looks like when they come to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Or when they go to Charlotte, North Carolina,
They if they go to Minneapolis, they won't go to the Target Center. They'll probably go to where the Gophers play basketball.
Yeah. So like that's going to be when I'm really going to start paying attention to, are they actually selling tickets?
I've said this before. I don't give, and yes, I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit if they sell out Boston. I don't give a shit if they sell out Philadelphia. I don't give a shit if they sell out Washington, D.C. They should sell out there. Wrestling has always been good there. Why doesn't WWE sell out there? That's the argument somebody will come back with. Have you seen the product lately? That's why they're not selling out. But with the new product, people are going to want to see it, so they're going to sell out.
Well, and
my thing is I want to see them come to Madison, Wisconsin. I want to see if they can sell out Madison, Wisconsin, the Kohl Center, like Raw used to. Just a few years ago, they used to sell out Kohl Center, 16,000 seats. I couldn't get tickets to go.
Nothing can be said about AEW and what they're going to do until we've got, in my opinion, at least 8 months to a year within their TV deal. Like, but everything else is speculation, entire speculation.
If they sell out that venue, then I will give a shit. But until then, I don't give a shit that they sell out Boston or New York or.
Like I said, they're selling out big time wrestling cities, so it's pretty easy to do that.
It's a smart business decision. If they're not ready to have a TV deal, all you're going to be at is the big wrestling cities, because you're basically forming a fan base off of an existing fan base.
Yes.
I mean, I'm rooting for them. It's just I see, like, when they first started this venture. They said that they weren't going to do certain things, and I see them doing certain things.
Oh, yeah. You knew they were going to. I knew they were going to do it.
I just don't want it to turn toxic, because I mean, like, you have a lot of toxic fans out there already. Not just AEW, WWE, whatever.
You're right.
There's a lot of toxic fans out there, but I don't want to see the product itself turn toxic.
Unfortunately, no matter what they said they wanted to do, if they've basically introduced themselves as a competitor of WWE, that's impossible.
Yeah.
And the problem is, like, people are going to have to temper their expectations for what's actually going to happen, because they're not going to be. They're going to be as much of a competitor to WWE as Lucha Underground was.
Yep. Yeah.
They're going to be better than Lucha Underground just because they've got a lot more backing and a lot more exposure. But still, like, it's not going to be. People have to understand that it's not going to be that way for a very long time, and hopefully it gets there, but we'll have to see.
I will say that Cody Rhodes did make a tweet the other day saying that, like, they have only introduced about 40% of their roster, because somebody called them out saying that they don't have any big guys. Like, they have all these guys that are kind of not that well known. I mean, they have a few, the elite, and then they have Chris Jericho and John Moxley, what's his name, Sean Spears. But outside of that, it's all just a bunch of smaller names. But Cody Rhodes did say that they only introduced about 40% of their roster, and he said they have a lot of surprises in store. Now, as far as those surprises go, I'm really hoping it's not more Asia and Awesome Kong.
I honestly think Jeff Cobb will show up on AEW really quick.
Why
you guys are echoing really bad.
Did Chuck just come back on the call? Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear him now.
Okay.
No, you're good now. But I think Jeff Cobb will be on AEW.
I don't think so. Jeff Cobb is Ring of Honor and New Japan man.
What's his contract?
I don't know, but this was Jeff Cobb's first G1, and he said that he absolutely loves Japan, so I see him staying over there, to be honest.
the thing is, a lot of the guys that are in New Japan, like people that aren't under a contract or a contract expiring soon, will be the people that, if they only showed 40% of their roster, those are some of the people that are going to show up on AEW.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I don't know if it's true or not. All I know is Cody Rhodes did say that there was only 40% of their roster that's been shown so far. So
Well, they're showing all their big shooters.
Well, they have to have like a reason for people to watch when they get there outside of the wrestling, like the debuts. Who's coming out next?
He did say that there was going to be quite a few shockers too, because he said that they have some that they're going to come as a shock to people. So it's not fucking Roman Reigns. Don't make me punch you.
I didn't get to say it earlier, but why would Roman Reigns leave? Roman Reigns signing a contract is non-news.
No, it's
like, where is he going to go? Going to go from the top of the pile here to anywhere else? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Trek, what did you got? Anything you want to add to anything we've been talking about?
First off, for the Roman thing, we all knew he wasn't going anywhere, really. I mean, where else is he going to go? I mean, Vince treats him like a king, so he's not going anywhere. I mean, I could see him taking some time off if he needed to undergo treatment again for some reason.
I think when people say that, now when you say that, it sounds condescending. Vince treats his employees well.
No, that's what I mean. I mean, he treats all of his employees well, so why would he want to go anywhere else?
I just don't want people to come out and say, well, of course he's going to treat Roman okay. He's going to treat everybody else like shit. No, that's not true.
No, it came out garbled. I just meant that he treats every one of his employees well. Why would anybody want to go anywhere else? I mean, if you know Vince is going to treat you well, you're not going to want to jump ship.
Right. I mean, I had somebody jokingly say, well, he's been back in catering, and I'm like, how do you know that they're sitting back in catering, they're being held there? How do you know they just don't care and they're sitting back there? I mean, you might be right, but come on. People need to stop with the fucking catering bullshit. I get it, it's funny, but it's getting old.
Yeah.
Anything else?
As for the Nia Jax thing, I could care less if she comes back or not. Like you said, it doesn't matter if she's related to. If she sucks, she sucks.
Yeah, I agree.
She's got room to grow. Not much, but...
she might be able to jump 3 inches off the ground, not 2. What about Edge?
Edge, for what I've heard, I would love to see Edge come back. It's not going to happen because I saw an interview with him today at Wrestling Inc. where he said he would let him come back, but the WWE doctors just won't let him.
There you go. I didn't think that was true. What do you think about AEW selling out?
I think it's good that they're selling out the first 3 shows. That's great, but let's see how they could do a month from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Let's see what they could do. Let's see what they could do if they come down to Tucson here and could sell out the TCC, the Tucson Convention Center.
And Alex Payne actually, shout out to him, but he made a really good point in the chat. He said that he thinks that they're building their foundation in the wrestling cities, and then they'll use the TV show to build upon that and outside of that wrestling world that they already have.
Okay, I'm not again, I don't want people to think I'm shitting on AEW, but they should sell out these places though. That's my point. And yes, they are right in building their foundation. The foundation's already built for them, to be honest with you. They didn't need to build anything. They're just piggybacking off of a fucking, like Basement said, they're piggybacking off of a fan base that's already made. Just WWE hasn't given us a good product in how long, so somebody else shows up and says, we're going to do this. People are going to be like, okay, show me. And they have kind of shown little bits and pieces of good things where it's kind of like, okay, they can get behind it. But, yeah. Bobbit, what about you in AEW? And the fan base and all this good shit.
To be honest with you, AEW should be selling out these bigger cities. Like you said, I'm waiting to see what happens when they come to these smaller towns where your wrestling used to be big, but not as much anymore, like a Madison or like, let's say, a Roanoke, something like that.
Okay.
That's where I'm curious to see this going.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to segue into the second biggest promotion in the world today, New Japan and Gina.
My home. I love New Japan. All right. So the only news that I have with New Japan is they just finished up the G1. What was that basement last Sunday?
It was the 13th. It was Tuesday.
13th,
Monday,
13th.
Tuesday, one of those days.
Yeah. Okay. So the second to the last night, we had Jay White winning the B block. That came as quite a surprise because he was actually the last person.
Me too. I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
Naito, but
Well, actually, according to points, like they were all tied on points, but like basically a lot of stars had to fall in order for him to win B block, and that just
Naito had
happened
to
to
lose. Naito had
Yeah.
to lose.
Naito had to lose and Moxley had to lose, and they both happened to lose. So Jay White won the B block by
Well, didn't
chance.
Jay White beat Moxley?
Jay White beat Naito.
But Moxley needed to lose either way.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But then we fast forward to the last night, the final, and that saw Kota Ibushi going up against Jay White. But prior to the final match, I want to talk about a huge thing that happened. Kenta actually ended up turning on Chaos and joining the Bullet Club. And of course, this brought Shibata out to the ring, confronting Kenta. He attacked Kenta. Bullet Club ended up beating him up, and it ended with Kenta sitting Indian style on Shibata when he's laying in the ring. The only reason why this is a huge thing, not only with Kenta joining the Bullet Club, who cares, but Shibata, who has been retired for a good 2 to 4 years, something like that, due to a subdural hematoma in his head. He was taking a lot of bumps from Kenta, which signals to me that he may be coming back. And that's huge because he was one of the best wrestlers in the world. His nickname was actually The Wrestler. If you guys have seen his matches, he's fucking great. If you haven't, I suggest you go and you look up some of his matches. They're great.
Japanese
I saw his movie.
Junior.
That's great guy, by the way.
I bet he makes some pretty good bread.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, Bobby.
He's decent. I like him. He's all right.
He's really good. I like him. But
if I
anyways,
remember, he was never like, I don't know. I've never seen him in like a huge ticket match.
He's won up against Okada. He's won up against Zack Sabre Jr. He's gone up against
Jr.
No, but I mean he's gone up against a lot of really big guys.
I guess when I saw him, he was just in these strong style matches with the Bulldog guy.
You mean Ishii?
I mean, all the names sound the same.
Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes, that's the match I've seen him in.
Yeah, he wrestled against Okada. He wrestled against I know there was one against Zack Sabre Jr. that was really good. There was a shit ton of them, but anyways, just go look him up. He's really good. I'm hoping he's coming back.
I hope he don't.
Fingers crossed on that.
He's got a big fucking head.
Fast forwarding to the final match. And Basement, I want your input on this because I know you and I actually watched this match together.
Ringworm.
Aside from Kota Ibushi's obvious ringworm, that we could not take our fucking eyes off.
Yeah, I don't think it was ringworm, but it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It looked almost like ring burn, but it looks like ringworm at the same time.
It was burned in a perfect circle, and it started oozing after a while.
Yeah, it was.
And it kept touching it.
Yeah, and we couldn't take our eyes off of it, so that kind of took away from the match a little bit. But it was a great match. Ultimately, Kota Ibushi won, and Kota Ibushi is the G1 Climax champion. And that's all I got.
Best wrestler in the whole thing won, in my opinion. I think Kota Ibushi is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He doesn't have a character, and when he got on the mic after, he's like the homegrown, I guess, the guy you take home to your family type bullshit. Oh god. Like he doesn't have like the promo cuttings. He can cut a sincere promo, but he can't cut a promo that's within a character that's not super generic.
But I think that's kind of who they want him to be, because in my eyes anyway, I see Ibushi taking over the Tanahashi role. And Tanahashi is basically the John Cena of New Japan.
Yes.
Kota Ibushi can run circles around John Cena.
Well, I'm
Kota
just
Ibushi
saying,
can
like,
run
that
circles
down
around 99%
home.
of the wrestlers.
But I'm saying, like, Tanahashi's that down home good boy kind of feel, and I think with rumors of Tanahashi retiring, that Kota Ibushi's gonna be the new stepping stone into the Tanahashi type character.
This is the thing that was so fucked up in that match. Like, for the most part, like, okay, everybody knows Kota Ibushi's had neck problems. This guy is like, every move that has to have impact on the neck, he's like, I'm just gonna fucking get destroyed. Like, literally, like, how was he walking out of the ring afterwards?
Yeah, he landed on his neck so many times, and I mean, we're not talking about just like a suplex to where he just kind of lands on his back with his neck kind of impacting. No, we're talking about landing on his fucking neck.
Yeah,
and we're like, he's dead.
Got to watch that match, because that match told the story in the ring. They had a bit of story outside the ring beforehand, but it's the prototypical way New Japan tells the story. The match itself was great.
Yeah, the match is great, and Jay White is just, he is something special in my opinion. I love that guy.
He's special.
I love his character. He is a phenomenal wrestler for his age. I mean, what is he, like 26, 27?
24.
Something, well, whatever, he's young. No, I'm pretty sure the announcer said he was 26 or 27.
He's 24.
But you literally just told me the other day that he was 26 or 27.
No, I did not.
Regardless of which, the kid's young.
Yes.
The thing I will say, I was watching this match the whole time, and I'm thinking, like, this is, okay, not even this match, the whole New Japan G1. When I did watch it, I'm like, okay, so why isn't more wrestling like this? Why isn't it a bit more fast-paced in a more fast-paced environment, which it should be? And then we go to fucking SummerSlam, and echoing, Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton. Oh my fucking god! It's like they both ran a triathlon before they showed up to wrestle each other.
Yeah.
I can't wrestle. He is 26. I was thinking of somebody else. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I completely agree with you, Basement. Like, that's one of the reasons why I love New Japan as much as I do, because the matches are more fast-paced. You don't have all the commercial breaks. They tell a story in the ring that no other promotion is able to do, in my opinion. And it's my type of wrestling. I know a lot of people steer more towards the entertainment, but I steer more towards the wrestling, which is why I'm a New Japan fan.
No, I will say, like, New Japan isn't perfect. I personally would slow the pace down a little bit, but also make them sell a bit more. They don't do a very good job at selling in New Japan. It's like half the time moves don't impact them, and it's the
thing,
strong style.
But that's the thing. With New Japan, and JP even said this before, with New Japan, it is not about entertainment. It is a sport over there. So if it is a sport, you are not going to sell it. You're going to get up and you're going to fight.
I understand, but like, even in a sport, it's like if somebody's beating the living shit out of somebody, like, there's too many Hulk Hogan moments in New Japan.
I mean, when you're watching a UFC fight, do you see them take a break?
But it's not UFC. Everyone knows it's fake.
Yeah, I know,
Everyone
but
knows it's fake.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, it's considered a sport. That's all I'm saying.
I understand, but like, still, there's always going to be an entertainment aspect you can never get rid of.
Yes.
Because it's staged and produced. So why not embrace that a little bit more? I'm not saying that they should turn into WWE by any means, God, but like, there's too many Hulk Hogan moments. That's all I'm saying. Like, and every wrestler has these Hulk Hogan moments, and it's like, it's cool, but it happens way too often in New Japan.
I can agree. I can agree to a certain extent. They do a lot of false finishes.
But they also do like a lot of like, oh, your slaps, your chops, this doesn't affect me because I'm now in the zone.
Well,
it's because there's strong style, Basement, strong style.
But strong style is the impact of the move, not necessarily the way the move is then no sold.
But it's also the mentality. It's the mentality as well. And you see this in JP. I know you hate British strong style, but you see this in British strong style as well. When you see them hitting each other, Pete Dunne is a perfect example. You see him get hit, and a lot of times he does not sell it. He'll be like, all right, you hit me hard, now watch what I can fucking do.
It takes the reason I don't like Pete Dunne is it takes him 45 minutes to hit somebody.
Or
There's
he
a
just doesn't
moment-
hit anyone and hits like a girl, like on Takeover.
There was a moment in NXT history where they incorporated the right amount, almost the right amount of
I
strong
know
style.
what you're talking about.
And it only lasted about 6 months or something, but there was that moment where I felt they found like what wrestling really should be. They found the perfect balance between entertainment, wrestling, and all types of wrestling. It only lasted for a flash in the pan, but like that was it.
I'd say that the start of that with the strong style implement perfectly was probably the Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne match.
I don't know. Like I'm looking more at like when they debuted Shinsuke Nakamura,
Oh, yeah,
to face Sami Zayn. They had Kevin Owens there. There was like I don't know. There was just like this perfect 6 months to a year NXT run.
But I mean,
That
that was
doesn't
like NXT was fucking amazing at that time because that was just they had Shinsuke, they had Sami Zayn, they had Samoa Joe.
Right. Yep.
So,
Nope.
anyways,
Anything else?
Yeah. Motherfucker.
no, the next New Japan event, I believe, I'm not sure if they have any Road 2 coming or Road 2s coming up, but I know the next event, it's like Royal Quest or something it's called, and that's August 31st. So.
Okay, and that's the same day as fucking All Out.
And that is also the same day as NXT UK Takeover, I believe.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Ooh.
Sorry.
What?
Anything else anybody wants to add to New Japan? I mean, I haven't seen any of it. I am gonna watch at least the final and the heel turn, if you want to call it that.
Yo,
The
boy.
one thing that I didn't know Kenta was in Chaos.
Yeah, well, when Kenta came back, I really didn't know he was in Chaos either, but
I think they
made
just threw him
sense.
in there for that match.
Yeah, but no, they didn't though, because it makes sense because every time that he was in a tag team throughout the G1, he was either with Young Lions or if there were other wrestlers with him, it was like Yoshihashi or Ishii, guys that are in Chaos. So it made sense that he was in Chaos. I guess I just never put 2 and 2 together until the final.
Ow.
Fair enough. All right. Well, the real big news is what I don't do top stories until really the very end, and the big top story is Monday, or was it Sunday that it was announced?
Monday.
It was
Monday.
Monday. King of the Ring was announced. They're bringing back King of the Ring, and actually,
Mom.
I am going to bring up the bracket, and there you can see it. If you're on the stream, you can see the bracket and the matchups that are taking place.
JP, can we do this like match by match, and then once we announce the match, we talk about like everything?
There is a couple of things that I do want to point out that I think they screwed up on in matchups real quick. I would not have put Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre in the first round.
Nope, I wouldn't have either.
Move. Kevin Owens versus Elias. Too obvious what's gonna fucking happen there.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Ali versus Buddy Murphy. I wouldn't have put that match. I wouldn't put them two against each other. Other ones, I mean, I'm okay with everybody else. It's just those three stood out to me as why are they putting these people in these matches?
I will say Shelton Benjamin versus Chad Gable could end up being pretty interesting because they kind of started building up a feud between those two a while ago already, just with like little tiny backstage segments.
Yeah.
So I like that those two are going together. However, I do believe, and I know we'll get to this with predictions, but I believe that if they put Shelton Benjamin over Chad Gable, they might as well release Chad Gable because that guy is way too fucking good to be losing to pretty much a veteran at this stage.
So what we'll do is we'll go. Do you guys want to start Raw? We'll do one Raw and then one SmackDown. Or do you want to do all one?
Yeah, let's do one Raw, one SmackDown, and then we'll keep track of what everybody's saying. But before we get into it, I do want to say, like, this is a really weird fucking bracket. I looked at it, and some of it makes sense because I feel like it should be filled with mid-carders. But then I guess, like, I personally wouldn't even put Drew McIntyre in this unless
I
you're
don't
going to
think that they have
stack it a
anything
bit
else.
more.
Well, I was
to do.
gonna say that. Like, there's Ricochet. He don't need to push.
Rick
Drew
McIntyre doesn't need to be in
He
it.
doesn't need to push. Kevin
Samoa
Owens
Joe.
don't need to push.
Well, and you know the thing is, the people that act, or like one person in particular that I can think of that needs a push, and is basically just sitting backstage doing nothing is EC3, and I see him nowhere on this list.
Right.
I mean, I'm still not upset with the bracket because I still think they're featuring enough mid-lower card talent that it makes sense. But it's such a weird. Like I look at McIntyre, Ricochet, Samoa Joe as all top guys, and
Baron
the
Corbin,
rest
he
are-
already had his run.
yeah. Well, also he was disappeared for like 10,000 years.
Yep.
So, but yeah, let's get into it. Fuck it.
All right. So we'll start with Cesaro versus Samoa Joe.
This match doesn't make any sense.
No, it don't. But
It's going to be great.
I'm gonna go with Cesaro.
All right, I'm gonna capture that. Any reason why you're going with Cesaro, or just?
I just got a feeling. I mean, they're gonna book Samoa Joe. He's enhancement talent. Unless I'm just gonna go with it. You said it. They're gonna use him as a talent enhancement, and this is the way to do it. But I wouldn't have put him up against Cesaro. I would have put him in there with fucking Cedric Alexander.
I feel like the top left portion of this fucking bracket is stacked.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But
All
Cesaro,
right, so we're
he
going
essentially
Cesaro.
really doesn't even need to push, to be honest. He's another guy.
Cesaro is a guy that has been overlooked big time. I think that they kind of designated him in the tag team, which they should not have. I know he's not that good on the mic, but the guy in the ring is just ridiculously good.
I think
I'm
he's
telling
gonna
you
win
what,
this
like,
match. I think he's
WWE, WWE uses Cesaro exactly like they want to use him. He is on everything. He is on all like the small like main event and shit like that. They use him in the ring, which is where his strength is. Everywhere else, he kind of falls flat. So you either tag team him if you want to get him over above that. But as a singles talent, we all want to see him succeed. It's just I don't think he has 50% of what it takes.
right. Well, I'm going with Cesaro.
Yeah.
Gina?
That being said, I'm going to go against JP and say Samoa Joe.
Any reason?
There's your reason. She doesn't have one.
Just to go against JP? Okay, fair enough.
No. My internet's going nuts. Sorry, guys. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going Samoa Joe just because I think that yes, they are going to use him as an enhancement talent, but I think that they're gonna use him further down the line into the tournament to fall to somebody that they want to push, and I think that person might be Drew McIntyre, or it could end up being possibly Baron Corbin, whoever, he's going to go at least to the next round.
All right. What is Heather saying? Is Heather there?
Yeah, it's gonna be Cesaro. It's Samoa Joe. He loses everything. So.
And that's the most honest thing.
I
For
agree.
no reason.
I agree.
He's the 1, 2, 3 king. Trek, you alive?
Nope.
Type it in the chat, Trey.
Bobbit?
Motherfuckers. If there's one thing I know about, is the king of freestyle, motherfucker.
This isn't
So,
King of
I gotta go
Freestyle,
with
it's King
my
of the
boy.
Ring. Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
Shut up.
You shut
I
up.
gotta go with. I'm trying to get my pick, motherfucker. But I'm going with my boy Samoa Joe.
All right. So until Trek responds, all right. Cesaro, Samoa. This match shouldn't be happening, like I said before. But Cesaro hasn't really been featured at all. Samoa Joe has a bit more features on. He's a bit of the bigger name right now, and I think like him being in this tournament can also lead into the Roman thing at some point. So I'm gonna go with Samoa Joe as well. Even though he's the king of eating pins, I think that he'll actually win a match.
Yeah, he actually won a match last week.
I know, but let's not speak about that.
Chuck is going Cesaro as well.
Stop.
All
The
right,
next
so,
match,
go ahead, Casey.
is Apollo Crews, and I'll do it diagonally. Is Apollo Crews versus Andrade from SmackDown. Go ahead, Basement.
Here's my question. Like, I'm trying to look at this bracket and say who's heel and who's not. What the fuck? Like, Chad Gable, I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know what the fuck he is. I think he's a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Is he heel now? I thought he was face.
Who the fuck knows, man?
He's a baby face.
Yeah, because I was gonna say they tried to turn him heel with Robert Roode before he turned on him. But speaking of Robert Roode, where the fuck is he on this list?
No,
He doesn't need a push.
He's dead in the water.
He's stagnant.
I'm going to say because Andrade, for some unknown reason, has unfinished business with Rey Mysterio, even though the business was finished a long time ago, I'm going to go with Apollo Crews. It seems like they're featuring him more. I think he's going to get a small push here, and I think Apollo Crews is going to take this one.
Bobbit?
Alright, motherfuckers. I got to go with Apollo Crews because I think Mysterio is gonna fuck over Andrade, motherfucker.
Okay, I don't think that's happening. Alright. Gina?
I'm going Andrade.
I'm with Gina.
Any reason you guys are going that way?
Apollo
I feel like
Crews
that.
just doesn't.
Oh shit! I should have went Andrade too. I'm sorry.
I love Apollo Crews. I think that he's an incredible talent in the ring. It's just I don't see him getting that push that will be needed in this tournament. And Andrade seems to have he's being featured a lot more than Apollo Crews is as of late. So
Well, the
Andrade.
reason here's
Basement,
the
are
reason
you
that he's
changing
gonna
your
win.
pick?
The reason he's gonna win is because Zelina Vega is gonna fucking interfere. Because
True.
fucking Andrade
I'm-
can't fucking win on his goddamn own.
I'm
Which
actually
again-
switching my pick. I'm going with Andrade too.
Basement's gonna switch. Okay.
Yeah. But it only makes sense.
You know what? I'm gonna change mine to Andrade.
Damn it.
Motherfucker.
No, but like I was like my brain melted in my head.
It's the cough medicine.
Well, like y'all said, Andrade makes more sense than Apollo.
Yeah.
You did it.
Oh, Wendy, girl.
What's Heather going with?
God damn it. Hold on.
A crown, baby.
Wendy is what she's going with.
Do you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Trek Andrade or Apollo?
Andrade.
Is it the same reason as everybody else, or?
The way he's been being pushed the last couple weeks, I mean, they'd be stupid not to do it.
Here's the thing, though. Do you think there's still like unfinished business? Because that last promo by Rey Mysterio was just retarded. Like,
I think that more or less ended the feud. To be honest with you, I'm hoping.
So I read somewhere that Rey Mysterio is like, his contract is kind of weird, where it's like 2 years, but he can opt out if he doesn't like the way he's being booked after like a year and a half, or maybe less than that. And he's been there for a year. So do you think maybe he opted out and they're just like, yeah, we're kind of gonna just do away with you?
Well, maybe
No,
he opted out because I know that he. Sorry, Chuck. I know that he has a lot of ties, and I know you guys are gonna hate me for saying this, but he does have ties with the guys with AEW. So maybe he
He'll
opted
be
out
in
to go back
AEW.
to the Indies.
Thank God, I can't see him anymore.
Oh, me?
What?
No, you're not even on camera.
I know. It's like I can't
Heather.
even see him anymore.
Heather, what's your choice?
Andrade.
Alright, so everybody's going with Andrade.
Yeah. The next match is Ricochet versus Drew McIntyre. Heather, you go ahead.
I am going Ricochet.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They seem to like him, so.
They
They
seem to
seem
like.
to like him more than Drew.
I don't believe that. All right. All right. Whatever. Gina?
I'm actually going to go with Heather, and I'm going to say Ricochet.
Why?
Because Ricochet seems to have, they're pushing him in this like almost superhero type mentality to where it's almost like he's going in the underdog against all of these big guys. So I have a feeling that they're going to continue that push with him, and he's going to end up winning this one.
I have kendo stick to the face to Ricochet.
Wow,
Bobbit, what about you?
Wow, this is my sweetie McSwoog pick of the week, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm going Ricochet.
Well, you made that seem like. What's your reason? You don't have one?
Because, motherfucker,
Okay.
Drew McIntyre doesn't need the victor. See, I think, well, that's later on, but I think they're going to do something with Ricochet in this tournament, motherfucker.
Okay. Trek?
I think it's Drew McIntyre because I think they want to have him face off against Cedric in the semifinals.
I'm going with Drew McIntyre as well. And for that very reason alone. Either that or have him face off against Baron Corbin. Anybody else got a pick? Move on to
Yeah.
Basement?
I will say that, like, if you recall, his name used to be King Ricochet.
It still is.
No, it isn't. It's just Ricochet.
Yeah, no, it's still King Ricochet. It's on Twitter. And actually, he just tweeted out
Well,
saying
in
that I'm gonna
does anybody refer to him as King Ricochet?
But on Twitter today, he actually just said, "I'm gonna show these motherfuckers." He didn't say motherfuckers. How did he put it? He said, "I'm about ready to show these guys who the real king is."
That's because.
Right, well, I'm definitely not going with Ricochet. I feel like Ricochet's already gotten a lot of spotlight. He's already in the Seth Rollins thing, whatever's happening there. He's already they have a plan for him. I think they have no plan for McIntyre, which is why I think McIntyre is going to win. And I'm with these guys, McIntyre and Cedric Alexander. That seems like it might be the case. But yeah, McIntyre for sure.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I was to pick with my heart, then it would probably be McIntyre.
Okay.
Just simply because it makes more sense. But when has WWE ever made any sense?
But you think about, like, they separated McIntyre now from Shane McMahon a little bit, but he's got nothing really going on. A feud with Cedric Alexander. This is the logical place for that feud to end. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
For fuck's sake, Basement.
No, you're stuck.
Changing.
You're stuck.
I'm changing my pick. Fucking asshole. I'm going Drew McIntyre.
Oh.
Asshole.
All right. Next match is Chad Gable versus Shelton Benjamin. Gina?
If Chad Gable doesn't win this, then they might as well fuck off.
I'm going with Gina. Shelton Benjamin is just talent enhancement. He's like Samoa Joe. It's Chad Gable. Chad Gable's gonna go over.
I'm with you guys. I'm with you guys 100%. Shelton Benjamin's too busy looking at the room around him to win.
And please, for the love of God, they better not pull this trigger on this rumor I hear about the Shorty G bullshit.
What's Shorty G?
Apparently, Shelton Benjamin in one of their backstage segments called Shelton Benjamin Shorty, and Vince McMahon liked it, and now, according to rumor, Vince McMahon wants to rebrand Chad Gable and rename him Shorty G.
Oh, good fucking God.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, it makes sense because
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Fuck you.
Bobbit, go ahead since you.
I'm gonna go with the Shorty G, motherfucker.
God, I hate you,
Chad Gable. Trek.
Go ahead, Chad Gable.
Basement.
I went with Gable. Heather?
I'm gonna go go against the grain and say it's going to be Shelton. This is
Why?
going to be the one throwaway match, and it's just going to be that one match that nobody actually gives a fuck about.
I actually look forward to this match.
I really fucking hope not. I think it's going to be a great match. It's going to be one of those matches that everybody just thinks is going to be bathroom break matches, but it ended up blowing everybody's mind because they're both amazing athletes and they're both former Olympic wrestlers.
I almost feel like this is a
I
tournament.
think for that very reason alone, Gina, it's going to be a squash match, and it's going to be like a 5 minute, not even a 5 minute match. It's going to be like 2 minutes.
Well, whatever. As long as that match ends with Chad Gable pinning fucking Shelton Benjamin, I'm cool.
I just feel like this is an opportunity for WWE to give something to Gable.
Yeah.
Give him something, please God. And don't give him Shorty G, so I'm going to be fucking eating a shotgun.
Everybody picked? Next match. Go ahead.
Wise Society did point out that Shorty G was trademarked by WWE a month ago.
Okay.
I said that.
Yes, Bobbitt, you did say that. I'm sorry.
As you can see, we know Sal Bobbin all the time. I'm just kidding.
No, my internet started cracking out, so
I was kidding.
yeah, no, my internet started cracking out when Bobbitt was talking. So, I tuned out when he started talking like skinny penis. So sorry, Bobbitt. Anyway.
Next match is Cedric Alexander versus Sami Zayn. This will be a boring fucking match. And that's sad for me to say because Sami Zayn is a phenomenal wrestler. But
who has dead eyes, apparently.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does.
Bobbitt, go ahead.
Soulless.
Whichever one isn't Sami Zayn.
So Cedric Alexander?
Yeah.
Trek?
I think it's be Cedric. I think he's just going to roll him up to win 5 seconds into the match, like that happened last week with Ray.
Well, if that's the case, Sami Zayn might as well just leave.
I will say, if any of these matches end in 5 seconds and it's a pin, the King of the Ring tournament has failed horribly.
Yep, yeah. I agree. They should give these guys time. Heather?
Cedric. There's no way they're going to have him lose to Sammy. Not on the streak he's on right now.
No, I agree.
Oh,
that's the only other reason I can think of that Sami Zayn will be eliminated. And then Sami Zayn, they'll build a story on Sami Zayn from that point, even though they've already started doing that. But Gina?
I agree. I'm with Cedric.
Okay. Next match for SmackDown is Ali
versus
Basement Peg.
Oh fuck! I'm sorry.
Not even a person. Not even a person over here.
I'm sorry. I thought I picked you up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to say it. Alexander's gonna win. Sami Zayn's the whipping boy. He's an absolute bitch. So here we are, Alexander.
Yeah.
Hence why he has dead eyes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know, right, Wendy? I totally agree. The next match is Ali versus Buddy Murphy. Now,
this could possibly be the match of the tournament.
I want to say this. They really showcased him last week. I was pleasantly surprised because you were on. Everybody we were watching that show together, and I'm like, I cannot believe that they did not squash him here.
Mm-hmm.
I was pleasantly surprised, and they showcased him well. They showcased the kind of person that he could be and is. This is a tough one. Why they put these two together, I do not know. I don't care for Ali, to be honest with you, so I'm going with Buddy Murphy.
Murphy for JP.
Just because of the way they showcased him last week. Trek?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Buddy Murphy as well.
Gina?
Oh, fuck.
Your hand out, you bridges. My hand's in my pocket, you dickhead.
Fuck. I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't hear that. Fuck. Now I can't think. All right. So I love Ali, but I do agree that with the way that they're pushing Buddy Murphy. However, I'm not sure if they're done with him in that storyline. So fuck it, I'm going Buddy Murphy. They made him look really good last week for a reason.
Basement.
I'm actually going to go with Ali.
Okay.
I feel like they've done several promo packages with Ali. They've even featured him on the King of the Ring fucking snippet bullshit that they've done. They did highlight Murphy, but in the end, I'm gonna go with Ali. This is like the one thing I think that could go either way.
I will say this. This match, in my opinion, because I like the high flying stuff, this match could be one of the top matches of the tournament.
I hope it fails. But anyway.
I think it'll be a great match. I like Murphy more in ring than I do like Ali, though.
Yes.
I will say that.
I love Ali. I love Buddy Murphy and Ali, but
Murphy has moves that look like they hurt. Ali looks like he's fucking using a wet nap to wipe his asshole.
Agreed. That's why I don't care.
How do I respond to that? Okay.
You can't.
I can't. That's the whole point.
Heather?
I'm going with Ali.
Why?
Yeah, they've quote unquote showcased Buddy Murphy getting his ass handed to him 2 weeks in a row.
All the more reason. But did you see his in-ring? He almost beat the big dog.
Oh,
Yes, and then he got squashed like a fly by Eric Rowan.
Well, Eric Rowan's 300 fucking pounds.
And the big dog is 299 pounds. I have no idea how much the
265.
big dog is.
Not
He's a
that
big
much
dog.
of a difference.
Okay, go on.
It's going to be Ali.
No, it's not.
They've spent so much money on his promo packages alone. And
I mean,
they've
he's
got-
been featured really highly in other things too, right, Heather? Like, they
Yes.
pushed this guy before this.
Yes.
I hope he
Well, and not
loses.
only that, but you also have to remember that Ali was the one that was set to get the push until Daniel Bryan came back.
He's Rey
King
Mysterio.
Ali, Ali,
He's Rey Mysterio Jr. version 2.0.
Which is why they're showcasing him.
He needs to, and what I mean by that is, like Basement said, he couldn't fucking hurt a fucking fly.
I agree, but WWE's pushing him.
Fucking.
I
He's the one
love
who got the match
Ali.
against Nakamura, not Buddy Murphy.
I love Ali.
See, you're
and
all
if I was-
forgetting
again-
about that. He's still got that feud with fucking Nakamura to do.
And Buddy
Right.
still has unfinished business with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan.
Yes.
One's getting a title
So they
shot,
both
the other
still
one
have-
isn't.
So they both still
Ali's
have
getting the
feuds.
title shot.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
why
not
does
happening
why
yet.
does Ali need the fucking King of the Ring?
So Bobbitt, who do you pick?
I'm gonna go with Ali on this one.
So we're tied on that one.
Thing
Yes,
is-
3-3.
Bad pick. Anyway, who cares?
Well, no, the reason I say it is I think they got something else planned for Buddy Murphy.
Well, they got something else planned for Ali too.
The thing is,
Yeah,
ultimately,
my balls, your chin.
ultimately, I think whoever wins this match, they're not going to win the tournament.
No.
Don't
And
say
the
that.
final match for Raw is The Miz versus Baron Corbin.
Baron Foreskin is my choice.
I agree.
Agreed.
How can you not choose them?
Trek?
You liked one of my tweets, of course I did.
Yeah, it's Corbin.
Nobody has any particular reason.
Yeah, he needs it. He just can't. He's going to be coming back from hiatus, a small one, but still, The Miz doesn't need it. For fuck's
No.
sakes, The Miz has no reason to win this.
No.
Corbin should win, and I can see this being like a fuckery finish, like he cheats
Um,
to win in some way. But yeah,
The only way that I could see The Miz winning this is because he did get kind of screwed with the best of the world thing with Shane McMahon. So they could use that as an angle for him to actually say, I am the best in the world. I am the king of the ring.
You don't
All
need
I'm
it.
saying is,
I-
you know how WWE loves to bring back those old storylines, and Shane is still in the picture, but yet he's kind of on his way out. It makes sense.
So what? You're going with the Miz?
Mm-mm.
What the fuck?
I was saying the only way that I could see the Miz winning it would be if they were to do that.
Right. I don't see Baron Corbin winning or losing. No, not in this
I
match.
agree,
anyway.
Brian. Brian says the Miz versus Corbin is a bathroom break match.
Well, of course.
I agree.
Whatever. I don't even care. And the final match is a bathroom break match for me. Kevin Owens versus Elias. And I'm going to make a bold prediction here. I'm going to call that Shane McMahon says that Kevin Owens is removed from said tournament. Elias takes the pin. Shane McMahon wins.
I actually think that Shane McMahon might insert himself in the match instead of Elias. Something's going to happen with this because if you think about it, Elias is 24/7 champ right now.
Yeah,
So okay,
it's
that
gonna
could
be
be what they
tomfoolery.
do. That could be what they do. Elias could get counted out, and Owens could win by victory or by count out because of the 24/7 title. They could come out chasing him. So I'm going Owens.
I think Shane's going to somehow. And they could still do that fucking 24/7 segment with Elias.
Okay, so I don't know who to put down for your pick then. Is Shane?
I think it's going to be Shane McMahon.
Okay, so JP says Shane.
Okay, so basically it doesn't say Kevin Owens because he's the one that's slated in his spot, like, I guess. I don't know. There's so much. This match is the match that I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. Because you've got Kevin Owens embroiled in a rivalry with Shane McMahon. You got Elias as the 24/7 champion. Multiple things will happen in this match. I think both things are going to be touched upon. And I think this is going to be the match we see first. And it's going to, because they have to get this match out of the way to build the storyline between probably Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon again. Or whatever the fuck happens. I don't really know who's going to win, but Kevin Owens is like the only big name on the SmackDown side.
Agreed. Yeah. He doesn't need to win.
He doesn't, but you remove him, and then you've got a bunch of mid-carders, which is what it should have been from the get-go. I'm going to go with Elias, man.
Okay, and Wise Society in the chat did make a good point. He said that he thinks it's going to be Kevin versus Drew in the finals, and that's when we're going to see Shane come out and help Drew to win.
Well, then then that would ruin King of the Ring.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, but it does that not sound like WWE to you? Ruining something?
No, but I was going to make mention of that. They're going to ruin it by putting Shane McMahon. It's going to get ruined. You can see it coming from a mile away. Yes, this is a great idea. They put these guys in here. The other 15 guys that are in this, I should say 14 guys that are in this, or 13, except for the one that's going to make it to the finals, because I don't see Ricochet getting to the finals. I don't see Cesaro getting there. Cedric Alexander is going to get beat out by Drew McIntyre anyway. The Miz, Baron Corbin's going to lose to Cedric Alexander by some fuckery. And on the SmackDown side, the Kevin Owens and Elias match stands out to me is where it's gonna
something is gonna happen.
It's gonna
Several
be Shane
things.
McMahon. I just got.
But even if it is Shane McMahon, I mean, I just like no matter what, no matter way I look at it, the left side I think in my mind is gonna be Drew McIntyre. The right side, whatever. Like I feel like whatever we find out what happened, Kevin Owens and Elias match is going to determine what happens at the end because I can't look at the rest and think anybody should wrestle Drew McIntyre and actually pose a threat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so Basement's got Elias. JP's going with Shane. Heather, you have?
I'm going to go with Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Simply because if it does happen, it does more than likely seem like Shane would take Elias out of the match and put himself in so he can get another chance at Kevin Owens.
But he's going to try.
Oh God, I see what's going to happen, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it because if Kevin Owens wins and it becomes Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens at the end, they're going to do the fucking 316 bullshit.
Of course they are.
Oh God, it's gonna be terrible. Cancel the King of the Ring. If that happens, cancel the King of the Ring. I'm gonna switch to KO because that's what's gonna happen.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still got this feeling they're gonna bring Shane out, but I will go with Kevin Owens.
Okay.
I still think they're gonna do Shane though.
That's why I just
You're
put a
basically
line
doing
there.
the Stone Cold storyline all over again.
Of course.
Bobbit?
Put me down for Kevin Owens because I think Shane's gonna attack Kevin before the match, like on backstage, and then have Kevin come out, and yeah, it's gonna be the Stone Cold storyline all over again.
Okay. Check.
I'm going with Owens. If they screw over Owens, it's not going to be until the very end of the tournament because then it'll mean more for Shane.
Ugh.
Agreed.
I mean, Trek has a point. I hate saying that, but he does have a point there.
Yeah, I'm not doing that about Trek's point. I'm just doing that about this like they're
Where he sees it's going.
they're using the King of the
Oh,
Ring
yeah,
to
I know.
replay a story that's been played before that no one wants to see again.
Or it could go the way that I think it could possibly go.
Either way around,
I could
there's
see
going to be some
Shane
sort of
McMahon.
tomfoolery.
I could fucking see Shane McMahon and The Miz in the finals, and play up that fucking best in the world bullshit. I could see him doing that, but Shane McMahon's gonna get involved either way, and it's gonna be all about fucking Shane McMahon.
Well, see, this tournament they could go 4,000 different ways with it, and all of it's gonna be fucking terrible.
No,
so.
I mean,
it's
if-
all gonna
if I-
lead. It's all they could go 4,000 different ways, but it's gonna lead to the finality of fucking Shane. I see it being Shane McMahon in the final, being the finality of it.
If I look at this with the idea that Kevin Owens is gonna basically do the exact same thing as Stone Cold, most of my picks will change.
Right.
Right.
But
Now,
holy
that-
fuck!
But that being said, we will move on.
What? There's nothing left.
No,
Well, Gina, what did you say?
No. I'm talking about for this
Oh, I
tournament
said Owens.
alone. We will fill in the brackets, and then we'll pick next week. We'll do that. Ultimately, I will have a question. Who do you ultimately see? If it stays true to form, who do you all see winning this tournament?
Ultimately, I could see Corbin winning.
Really?
Sadly, I could agree with her.
No,
No. I see Drew McIntyre.
I do too.
it's either McIntyre or it's Kevin Owens.
Yep.
I don't think anybody else really has a chance.
No.
I'm gonna say for the first King of the Ring that they bring back, it's gonna be somebody that they're really, really, really gonna want to push heavily.
You'd think, or they just want to push the storyline that they're doing.
Yeah, but I mean, like in the
Well, think
past
about
with
it.
the King of the Ring, whoever won the King of the Ring was like they got pushed significantly for the rest of the year. So I am going to actually say, fuck my life. I don't
Shelton
know.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
I think the right
No,
choice
but
is Drew McIntyre, personally. But
Me too. I think it's gonna be either Drew McIntyre or Kevin Owens, but I would not mind seeing, and I know you guys are gonna hate me for this one, but I would not mind seeing it be Chad Gable because that's something that nobody would see coming. And you can't say the guy can't wrestle. Like he could be the King of the Ring. He has the athletic ability.
Most of these guys have athletic ability. I get what you're saying, no, but Chad Gable doesn't do it for me.
Well, I'm not saying he does it for me either. I'm just saying like it would be something that I'm not expecting to happen.
Okay.
For
So
me,
that'd be your dark
Alright,
horse.
you guys-
That would be your dark horse then, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My dark horse is actually Cesaro. Or Buddy Murphy. What about you, Basement? You want poop?
I am pooping.
Fantastic. Who's your dark horse?
Dark horse to win.
Well, first off, I'm picking if everything holds true to form, Drew McIntyre's winning. I am actually going to go with Buddy Murphy as my dark horse.
I'm gonna go with Cedric Alexander as my dark horse.
Who do you think's going to win it if this stays
Drew
true?
McIntyre should win,
Okay.
but I can see Kevin Owens winning for bullshit.
Okay. Heather?
Andrade is going to be my dark horse.
Andrade would be your dark horse. I think you secretly are in love with him.
No, because he's going to have Zelina fucking help him.
That's true. That's true. I've been saying that for like the last. Fuck Andrade. He can't do anything on his own. He's a fucking paraplegic in my eyes. But Bobbit. What about you?
Imagining his entrance where he wheels out.
What about you?
I'll leave it alone. It's just like, dude.
Bobbit, what about you, Bobbit?
Okay, for me, if it stayed... Okay, keep in mind, when King Barrett won it, they really didn't do anything with him.
Let me try.
Actually, he said after he won that, his life was worse because he won it.
Okay.
That's according to him. But if it stays true to form, I honestly see the Miz winning because they're going to do that best in the world versus King of the Ring bullshit. I can see that coming from a mile away.
Okay. I mean, I called that. That could be in the finals. That's why I said I think Shane McMahon. If Shane McMahon gets involved, there's 3 different ways it can go.
Yeah. Why Society, if they do that, if that happens, you might as well just like fucking kill me.
What's that? What did he say?
He said Drew versus Elias in the finals, where Shane
God.
forces one of them to give up their spot and the other has to lay down for Shane.
That is the worst.
That'd be worse than the
Absolutely.
Republican
Never show me the King of the Ring again if that happens.
Yep.
Because there's no. You killed the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You turned it into the finger poke of doom.
At that point, you've killed wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've essentially buried
My dark horse.
You've essentially buried 16 superstars all to get a fucking McMahon over, which is never gonna fucking happen.
Well, and I don't think that they're going to do that to this tournament anyway, because like this tournament is something that they've been kind of steering away from, but it has a lot of prestige behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that they're like there's not going to be too much tomfuckery going on.
It's just
Not in the finals anyway.
The stars have aligned for Kevin Owens to be Austin 316.
They have.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is unfortunate. I hate it.
I agree. I mean, I could see Shane McMahon going in and filling in. I could see them doing why Society says and Elias backs off, and then he says Drew McIntyre lay down, and Drew McIntyre destroys Shane McMahon.
Yep.
I could see that, and that turns Drew McIntyre babyface.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme.
I don't like the idea of fucking around with the tournament so much where you can just like take somebody out when you want, but somebody else when you win.
No,
It
I
just
know.
like kills the idea of the tournament.
No,
But that's one of the ways that I could see them going. But that's just me. Go ahead.
Bobbit, I know that you were trying to say it, but you typed it in the chat. Bobbit says his dark horse is Ricochet.
I'm sorry, Bobbit. I was just gonna ask you who's your dark horse. You don't need to type it. Who's your dark horse?
Well, it's because you took a million years to get there.
Honestly, Ricochet.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call him a dark horse. He's one of the favorites. I can tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
But a dark horse is, if you know what a dark horse is somebody that you don't expect to win, but it could. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in all reality, nobody expects Ricochet to even get past Samoa Joe. So.
I feel like the tournament
Drew McIntyre.
He could.
The tournament is not built in a way for a dark horse to win.
No, I know.
In all honesty.
No, I know.
No, but really, our dark horse picks are basically this is how the writing staff booked it, but we want it this way, but this is the way the writing staff did it.
Now I'm okay with WWE doing what they do as long as they do it right and tell a fucking story. I don't care who wins it, just as long as They do it right. And I'm not
It's gonna be
saying that
filled with
Shane
Shane
McMahon is the right way, and I'm not saying Kevin Owens is the right way, and I'm not saying Ricochet is the right way. I'm just saying if that's what they want to do, they need to stick to their guns and do it. Take a
It's
chance.
gonna be filled with
See,
Shane
that's what
McMahon.
this
I'm
King
telling
of
you
the
right
Ring
now.
is for. If you listen to like past superstars talking about the King of the Ring, or if you listen to Bruce Pritchard, he says the King of the Ring was created to build new superstars, just like the Royal Rumble was. It's ultimately that's what the King of the Ring was for. The King of the Ring, in my opinion, could be brought back as a pay-per-view to be who is the number one contender for SummerSlam.
I agree with that. I've always liked that. Yeah, because King of the Ring used to take place
In
like
June.
a quarter through
In June.
like the
Oh, yeah,
wrestling
okay.
year.
In June.
Now it's not going to be that way. But I think the reason they brought back the King of the Ring was to progress the Shane McMahon Kevin Owens storyline, which absolutely nobody wants. But I feel like that's what they're doing,
I agree. I do agree.
and I hate it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. But Track, we never got to you.
I'm picking Drew to win, and my dark horse is Cesaro.
Okay. You copycat. I'm starting to wonder about you, man. You agree with me all the time. I'm just kidding. But
He wants to suck your dick. I mean, what?
What?
So what Heather said she will do is you will fill them in, and then we'll show it. We'll do this continuously throughout as it goes on, and then we'll fantasy book like we just fucking did, even though we already know where it's going. I think we kind of figured out where it's going. We could be wrong, but
I hope we're wrong.
the stars are aligning for what Basement said. I can just see it. In my opinion, I'm not a big fan of the King of the Ring. I'm just not. The tournaments that I like to see are like the ones they do in New Japan. Round robin. Winner gets a title shot, however they want to fucking do it, once a year. But they do the Royal Rumble. They have 4 big fucking pay-per-views. There's nothing wrong with doing a fucking tournament during Raw to decide who the number one contender is for a fucking pay-per-view. The fucking Royal Rumble pay-per-view. You know? I mean, they do have championship matches during the Royal Rumble. They can do things like that. That's how they used to do it. If you watch along with us on Wrestling Memories, you will see that that's how they did kind of book their shows. They had these like King of the Rings, and then they built to the next pay-per-view. You'll see it when it comes. Go watch past Raws and then build up to the King of the, or build up. You know what I mean? It's just that's what they did, and they miss doing that. They don't do it anymore.
And you know the thing is, like the King of the Ring. King of the Ring was always the reason why I say it's such a prestigious. Well, I can't even say pay-per-view anymore, but it used to be pay-per-view, is because you look back and look at Booker T. To this day, he is still known as King Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the King of the Ring tournament made so many people's careers.
Well,
So
Booker
if
T,
they're going to do this, then they need to do it right.
Yes.
The only thing is King Booker was like almost booked as a joke after. He came up with like toilet paper and shit.
Well, yeah, I know that, but then it also led to one of the greatest storylines with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
I will say with like WWE's like proclivity to always go with the joke over the actual worth of something. This is why I doubt them. This King of the Ring will prove to me whether WWE is actually a fresh of breath air or if they're still shitting their pants.
Yeah.
What they do with this.
We shall see. I mean, I don't mind them trying new things or bringing old stuff back, but please don't get excited and pissed off. And I get it. Don't be like. I shouldn't say don't get pissed off because
I was just gonna say you're the guilty one that gets pissed off all the time.
Well, I kind of when it comes to things like King of the Ring, you won't see me get pissed off if they do something because I kind of fucking expect it. They've done it before, even before all this fucking bullshit that they've been doing. I've seen them fuck up King of the Rings before.
Viscera comes to mind.
Viscera or Mabel. I'll see you in a little bit. Viscera or Mabel comes to mind. They really fucked the pooch on that one. I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't a fan of Booker T winning it because he didn't need it. He didn't need it.
You didn't like King Booker.
No, because it was fucking annoying.
I
His
actually
wife
really
was
hated. I've really
fucking-
hated
his
that.
wife was really fucking annoying.
Well, they're still married.
Oh no, I know, but I was
No.
just saying, like, the storyline that they did with her
Yeah.
afterwards was horrible.
Yeah.
And except for like that when they brought the boogeyman out, that was great.
I like the tournament aspect of King of the Ring. I don't like the fallout of having somebody act like a king because it's just kind of stupid. Can't you just like say you've got the clout of winning that tournament and like downplay the? They don't need to actually act like a king because that's just fucking elementary school garbage.
But I mean, you look back and you look at a lot of people's careers, like Kurt Angle, for instance. He won the King of the Ring, and after that, his career was kind of catapulting before that, but his career catapulted even further after the King of the Ring. So that they just need to do it right.
No, I agree. They do.
Kevin Owens wins. Kevin Owens.
Look at Bret
268.
Hart. His career.
Bret Hart's career
What?
is already catapulted.
Bret Hart, but he was the main man after that. He did go on to win WrestleMania the next year.
He
Oh,
didn't,
fuck
but,
Bret Hart.
But he
But
didn't.
they use it
he-
to like
he-
further
he was
establish
one
an
of
established
those-
star.
He was one of those that did not fucking need it. He had already been a WWF champion. He didn't need it.
All I have to
ever.
say is just, I'm sorry. Fuck Bret Hart.
I'm
I'm
with
not
you.
a big Bret Hart fan. I'm sorry to anybody out there that is.
You shut up.
The only person in this tournament that needs it, that's the most logical choice, is Drew McIntyre.
I
In
agree.
all honesty, because he's established, but he's not like actually established, and he's got
And it
nothing
would
else
give
going on.
him, it would give him a storyline. Like right now, he has no storyline. Like you've got thing going with Cedric Alexander, but that can only last for so long.
Yep. Well,
They
any
did this
storyline
King of the
can
Ring.
last only for so long, but without an established reason. WWE's got to figure out reasons. And a lot of these feuds that they've been having, what are they fighting for?
You
So I mean, build up. This could. Hey, some of these the finals of the King of the Ring. What are these two fighting for? And if there is just that ultimate ending like we're thinking, then it's bullshit. Because Kevin Owens doesn't really even need the push. Doesn't he? Don't need shit. It's just like
no.
it's like if they had a Queen of the Ring, and they had Becky win it. Does that make any fucking sense? She don't need the push at all.
But
Right.
this is my worry, where I think they're going to use the King of the Ring as a story
Catapult.
point for something that doesn't need it, instead of using it the way it should be needed to actually catapult stars that haven't had the limelight.
I will say this: do not be surprised when we hear they're going to have a Queen of the Ring tournament after this, because it's
100%.
going to happen. It is 100% going to happen. The only way that, as far as the King of the Ring tournament, the only way that it would make sense for me for Drew not to win would be if, like with the Roman storyline, if he ended up being the one that's attacking Roman.
I mean, there's so many moving pieces that we can talk about, like what our first round picks are. This is in the idea of what we understand wrestling is right now. This is going to change. Obviously, none of us are going to be 100% right, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of fuckery that goes on.
I agree. I agree 100%. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to add to anything? Anything that we might have missed?
Yeah.
Or...
I do.
Go ahead, Bobbit.
If they do a Queen of the Ring, I said they should have done that 2 years ago.
They don't need to do a Queen of the Ring. They just will. It's not needed. I don't even think King of the Ring is needed, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I don't think it's needed.
I think tournaments are needed, not necessarily the King of the Ring.
Yes.
But with the women's division, it's definitely not needed. They've got a problem filling out what they've already got going on with championships. So I feel like King of the Ring is needed only because they've got such a bunch of fucking great talented wrestlers doing nothing.
Right. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Went black screen there for a second. I'm like, fuck! I agree.
Track overall 3-0. Here.
That was Beat the Track.
That was for Beat the Track, which we haven't done in a while. We'll have to do trivia again one of these days. But, yeah. So, Bobby. Oh, there is one more thing. Bobby, you said you had the Meltzer ratings. I was like shitting on these.
Oh my god, I completely forgot.
Let's do the. He has the Meltzer ratings for NXT Takeover and SummerSlam, right? Get ready for me to shit all over this. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, let me pull up wrestling. Sorry, I completely forgot.
It's all right.
So, what do y'all think he gave him?
I don't know. Just
I know that you showed me the NXT one, and he scored that one relatively low, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Go ahead.
I think he's looking up.
No, I know he is.
I am.
Meltzer can lick my bloody ass.
I know, but just wait. I'm gonna shit all over these. I shit all over everything this guy does. Fucking Meltzer.
Fucking find it.
Fucking.
Just guess, Gina.
No, I was just gonna say, like with Dave Meltzer, you can obviously tell that he has a preference between, like wrestling promotions that he likes and what he doesn't. Because like if it's an AEW event, then it's like 5-star matches all the way around, pretty much.
He's just a person like anybody else. He's gonna have an opinion, and his opinion's gonna be swayed in that way.
Yeah.
He gets fed like tidbits of information. Like he's got my people in the know, but 90% of what he says is just fucking connecting the dots.
Yeah.
I finally found it. All right, NXT Takeover Toronto. We'll do that one first, since that was first of the weekend.
Okay.
Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era, 3.75.
No fucking way.
No, that's too high.
That's too low. Like
What?
Street Profits versus Undisputed Era was a great freaking match. That was a great match, and it should have
Every
been
match is a 5-star
at
match.
least
I guess. Jesus
no. It
Christ.
should have been at least a 4.
No.
At least a 4.
Way.
What was the build for this
that's
match?
your opinion. My opinion
What was the
is a
build
4.
for this
Like I
match?
like that style.
What was the build for this match?
They had quite a big. Yeah, they had quite a build behind it with NXT tapings.
Okay, I would like after even watching if it's just in a bubble for me, I would probably land at about 3.5. It was a really good tag match. It wasn't
higher than that at all. Sorry.
a 4-star is like memorable as fuck. I'd probably never watch that match again, even though it wasn't bad.
But see, the thing is, for me, I gave it a 4-star because I am a huge Kyle O'Reilly fan, and I think that he was really showcased really, really, really well in that match.
That's putting the wrestler
is
before
one of
the
the big
wrestling.
reasons. Well, whatever. That's what I do. So fuck off.
It's my shit.
Candice LeRae versus
Ted.
Io Shirai for
Fuck off.
4.25 stars.
Too high.
That is very high for that match.
Yeah,
I felt that match
It
kind
was a
of
good match.
slog.
It was probably.
There's no way that match is higher than the tag match. I'm sorry, but it makes no sense.
And that's my problem. Like, and even if I didn't go up to a 4 with the tag, I would keep the tag where it was. But like, there's no way that like Candice and Io was that much better than the tag.
I
match.
wouldn't go higher, but I don't know how much lower I go. I'd keep it at the same, probably 3.5.
I'm gonna go to a 3.25.
And the reason I say 3.5 is because the storytelling was fantastic.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Pete Dunne versus Roderick Strong versus the Velveteen Dream, 3.5.
What? That match was pretty much better than the other two, I think.
The only part that I didn't like in that match is where they got into like that 3-man like
Slapping
fucking
each
girl
other,
fist fight
like
shit.
fucking
Like
girls.
just like, and they weren't even connecting with each other. Like Velveteen Dream was the only one that was connecting with anyone. Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne are just over there just swinging their arms, like basically not looking at all.
I mean, I did call it. Pete Dunne took the pin, which is the way it should have been. But whatever.
I mean,
This next one I think is way too low.
I know which one
Shayna
this is.
Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim. 1 star.
This shit was a
Yes,
shit
I agree
match.
with that 100%.
I don't agree
Match
with that at
How?
all. I don't
Mia,
agree.
I
If
like
the-
Mia Yim, but I can see what people are saying. She did not give anything to that match.
Well,
Match sucked. That
I
was the
would
worst
bring
match
it-
on the card for sure.
it was definitely the worst match. But I think it's a little bit better than a 1 star. Like I would at least bring it up to like 1.5.
On a 5 scale, I mean, if I had to put it at 10, obviously I'd give it a 4, which kind of, I guess, 1.5. How about
Yeah,
we
like
do that?
1.5, like a 2. Like a
It's a
1 is
3.
just too low.
If you're
because
doing a
it-
5-star,
Not a good
1.5 is a 3-star match.
Nothing but
Yeah.
rest holds and boring.
Yeah, it was boring. I didn't care.
Mm,
Alright.
It was one of the
Adam
worst
Cole
Baszler matches
versus
I've ever
Johnny
seen.
Gar.
yeah.
Go
Adam
ahead,
Cole
Bobby.
versus Johnny Gargano. 4 stars.
Now, there is no fucking way that Io Shirai and Candice LeRae was better than
It's
Johnny
close.
Gargano and
Yeah.
Adam Cole.
Kind of fucking.
But
dick is
Io
this guy's
Shirai,
supposed-
didn't they only get like a 3.5?
No, gave him a 4.25.
Yeah, 4.25 or some shit.
Oh, yeah, no. Like a 4.0 is about right for Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. It was a great fucking match. Io Shirai and them, then I have to bring down to like a 3.5, which I think I said before.
I will say the Gargano and Adam Cole match was too long,
It was. I
but
agree.
a 4 star is where I would settle on that one. Definitely the best match of the night. Nothing else is coming close.
I don't think any of these matches were 4-star matches. Maybe 3.75.
But the only reason
Yeah,
I
when I
would
get
say I
these-
give it a 4 star. Sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say is, after getting done with these SummerSlam ones, he also gave a rating for Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns from SmackDown.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead, Basement.
I think some of the only reason that 4 star exists is because they didn't spill the beans on, and it would have been better if they just left it in cloth and never told anybody what the match was
I
about.
agree.
You could have Twitter speculate the whole time, but the third and final pinfall was kind of shrouded in mystery. They ruined it at the beginning of the event, and they
Mhm.
shouldn't have. But if they, I mean,
Yeah, but-
I'm somewhere between 3.75 and 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite match of either of those guys. I've seen better matches. Adam
Yes.
Cole actually works better in a non-gimmick match. He's
Right.
much better in non-gimmicky matches. I would say fucking Gargano can work any match, doesn't matter. But Adam Cole is better in a one-on-one environment. But I mean, it's a, for me, it's a generous 4 star.
Yes. I agree. I wouldn't give
Alright.
any one of them a 4-star match.
But to have the
Some-
one anything else above that, it makes no sense. But whatever.
Yeah.
SummerSlam. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Drew Gulak versus Oni Lorcan. 2.75 stars.
Agreed.
Underperformed.
I didn't
I'd
even-
give it a 2.5, maybe even a 2.
I didn't
like,
even see it, so
I'm gonna give it a 2 because these guys could do much more than what they did in ring.
okay. I didn't
Alright.
even see it.
Apollo Crews versus Buddy Murphy. 1.75
The
stars.
only reason that got 1.75 stars is because it was going to ultimately be what happened. Which, Roman coming out and beating the fuck out of fucking Buddy Murphy. So-
I mean, it's really hard for me to give a rating on a match that doesn't necessarily. It's furthering another storyline. It has no.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a match, but it wasn't really slated to be a match. It was slated to be a story development match.
Yep. So
They did what they
it's
needed
really,
to do.
I wouldn't
whatever
even
that
call
is.
it a match. I call it a segment.
They did what they needed to do, and it wasn't like I was okay with it. I can't give it a star rating.
All right. Next up, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics. 1 star.
Yep.
Yeah, I could go lower.
I could too. Maybe a half a star or a tenth of a star.
I'm gonna give it a 0-star rating. Shouldn't have happened. Match was shit. Iconics need to be deported.
Agreed.
Becky Lynch versus Natalia. 3.25.
I don't know if I go that high.
I would go that high. I enjoyed
You
it. It
did?
was a very technical match. Like these two were attached the whole time, but it was because they were trying to sell, I guess, their technical wrestling skill with each other.
Okay.
A 3-star, 3.25. I felt like it was a solid opening to the event.
All right, I'm not gonna shit on it.
You can. I mean, honestly, like
I mean, I can
it's
see
Natalia.
what you're saying. I
Like,
can
what are you
see
gonna
what you're
Basement.
saying. I can see what you're saying. I'm not gonna shit on it.
Basement's favorite match. Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler.
6
3
stars.
stars.
Are you shitting me?
It's not even. It's the thing is,
Nope.
this is another one that I'm gonna say is the segment.
Yeah.
Not a match,
Yeah.
because it really was more of a segment than a match. Like the segment portion of this match lasted longer than the match itself.
How
It was what.
in the-
Okay, so
Okay, so and this is where Dave Meltzer's a fucking goon because he'll give a 1.75 to what match was it, Bobbitt? Buddy
Cruz and
Murphy, Buddy Murphy, and what's his nuts?
Apollo Cruz.
He'll give that a 1.75, but then Goldberg comes out and does a fucking spear and pins the guy. The match is over. He comes back and spears him. He gives it 3 fucking stars. Is this guy fucking retarded?
but this is why his rating system makes no sense. It's
No.
like I'd love to see the matches that he rated 3 stars. You go from a 20-minute match to a 10-minute match to a 5-minute match to a literally 1.5-minute match that wasn't even a match. It was posturing and a couple moves. That's it.
This guy needs
It
to.
was not a match. Does not get a star rating.
No.
They did what they needed to do. Goldberg looked strong. Dolph Ziggler sold the fucking living hell out of everything Goldberg did. Made him look really good. Killed his own character in the process. And his character now is a guy that's like, beat me more. Beat me. He's a masochist.
Yes. Okay.
Ricochet versus AJ Styles. This is going to piss y'all off. 3 stars.
Why would that piss me off?
It's the same rating as Goldberg and Dolph Ziggler.
Well, that would piss me off. If that's the case, this match should have been a 17-star match. I can give it a 3. Like I said, I'm with Basement. If I was doing stars, if I was giving it out of 10s, I would give fucking Goldberg and fucking Dolph Ziggler a segment out of 10. And I would give probably a 6 out of 10 to fucking Ricochet and AJ. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like the star thing doesn't make sense if the match is transitional. Really, like it's a Goldberg match. Is he rating it on Goldberg matches? Then might as well not rate them at all.
Right? Okay.
Bailey versus Ember Moon. 1.75 stars.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, it was not as good as it should have been in any way.
All right. Owens versus Shane McMahon. 2 stars.
0 stars.
It's a segment.
Yeah, it was not a match. They threw a couple punches and then the rest was talking.
Flair versus Trish Stratus. 3.25 stars.
I would go
I'd go 3.5.
3.75. I'd
I'd
go
go
3.75 on this one. Best match of the night, in my opinion.
I
But
agree.
the Brock Lesnar Seth Rollins match was good too. It's just I hated everything that
ending?
took place.
It would I
Kofi Kingston.
Go ahead, Bobbitt. I'm sorry.
No, you can finish it. What you want to say?
Because it has to do with Brock and Seth. But go ahead.
Okay. Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton, 2.5.
0.
I didn't care.
0.5. Didn't get it at first. It started in fucking reverse 10 gears. The fucking slowest match known to mankind for no reason. Kofi Kingston's like, you know what I need to do? I'm wrestling Randy Orton. Maybe I should slow down. And then maybe I should slow down even further. I'll give this a 1 star for him hitting that girl with a pancake. That's it.
Trek, Gina, you guys are awful quiet. Uh-oh.
Well, I'm not surprised about Dave Meltzer because he used to shit on China all the time, and she used to give some of the best matches with Jericho and stuff. He used to shit on her, so I'm not surprised he's being an asshole.
Well, he's not being an asshole. That's what he's giving for ratings. He literally thinks that Goldberg in a 2-minute match is worth 3 stars, which if Kenny Omega and Okada had a 7-star match, apparently that's a 45-star match.
Yeah, nothing makes sense. His ratings don't make sense.
Idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
No, you're right. He's not being an asshole.
wait.
He's just an asshole.
Sorry, Trek. Finish.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Gina, you watched this match after the fact of when we were watching it. I think you thought this match was better than what I at least thought it was with the Kofi Kingston.
No.
Randy Orton.
I was kind of like, oh, I didn't understand. I didn't hate it as much as you guys. I didn't like it by any means, but I didn't hate it quite as much as you guys. It was definitely a lot slower than what it fucking needed to be. Like, there's no reason why it should have been that slow.
Agreed.
Well, they
reason
wrestled
at all.
They wrestled Randy Orton style, and then they took it down a notch to a slower level. And then the whole thing with his kids and stuff, it felt like the build to that was very. We couldn't hear what Randy Orton was saying, so it had no value to the audience. And then he flipped the lid and went crazy. I don't know. It did the whole match as a whole, everything, the story there, nothing made sense, and the match was slow as fuck.
Yep.
Agreed.
Totally agree. Go ahead, Bobbit.
Next up, Finn Balor versus The Fiend, 2 stars.
Shut
I can agree with that.
Are we the match itself was never going to be anything more than that?
Yeah.
It should have never been anything more than that.
If you want to,
but if your Goldberg is 3 stars, then what the fuck? This is what I don't get. It's is he rating the entrance? Is he rating the whole fanfare behind it, or is he rating the actual match? Because Goldberg there was literally 2 moves in that match, and the match ended, and then he came back out into 2 moves and whatever. But I don't understand how that. Is it I'm saying? Is it the match as a whole, the entrances, all that shit, or is it just in the ring?
Yeah, I don't know what his. I'd have to look up what his philosophy is. He's an idiot. Again, to me, it was more of a segment than a match.
Yep, it was.
And it was 0 out of 0 stars because it's not even a fucking match.
It was a good segment, just
Yes.
like the Goldberg segment was a good segment. Now, I'll give them both thumbs up for having a good segment. That's it.
Yep.
Last one before the SmackDown one, Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, 4.25 stars.
I would not give. I wouldn't. 3.75 is as high as I would go, but I wouldn't go as high as fucking Charlotte and fucking what's her name?
Trish.
No, I wouldn't go that. That match was the best match of the night. Dave Meltzer's a fucking douchebag. He doesn't know fucking stuff. The guy needs to be put in a nursing home.
The thing is, the Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar match was a good in-ring match.
Yes.
It was one of the better Brock Lesnar matches that he's wrestled,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't make sense, and it took me completely out of it. And it's not just oh, I'm a Brock Lesnar fan, so therefore I can't like this. I just didn't like I didn't like it for anybody involved. It for me, it essentially really hurt a character that didn't need to be hurt.
Yes.
Now Seth Rollins is Roman Reigns.
Now I'm going to say this. I agree with Basement 100%. However, when Seth Rollins came out the next fucking night, he didn't say. I would have had him come out and say, "I was playing hurt to
But
make
it
him
doesn't, that
believe."
doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make
But
any
I
sense.
get that. But it would have made more sense if he would have done that. Because he was no-selling injuries. He was no-selling. And that's what Seth Rollins does in a
Yeah,
match. He's terrible at selling injuries.
we were watching it, right? How many times did we say Seth Rollins selling his injury, holding his ribs, and then executing a move to perfection?
That
Like, you
would
can't just
fucking
hold
hurt
your ribs
his
and
ribs
not have
even
it,
more.
not have it. He did a fucking frog splash into the fucking table with the guy on it. He's supposed to have broken ribs.
Yeah.
I just, it doesn't make any sense why you would choose to do that and still be able to go on to win the match. His selling makes no sense.
But
He really needs to
that's
improve
why I
that.
would have said, if he would have come out Monday night and said I was playing hurt to make him believe that he had me where he wanted me.
And this fights against the brutality that we saw the Raw before, where he was getting literally obliterated. They fucked themselves by showing it super brutal, making him no sell, and then make him continue to no sell. So now it's like, I don't, Lacey, like, he doesn't ever hurt off anything. Like, the guy is Superman.
Yeah.
He's Roman Reigns.
Yep. Agreed. I know, Gina. What are your thoughts? I know that it wasn't really heated. We weren't arguing, but we were debating. What did you think? Thinking on it.
About what?
Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. About Seth Rollins no selling his injuries.
Seth Rollins no selling his injuries, like it takes away from so much within the match. It's very, very stupid when you have it. I don't know. You see him come out on Monday night and he can barely fucking move, and then you see him come out at the pay-per-view and he's limping down to the ring, but yet, like, basically, he's executing moves that he would do on a normal basis. It made no fucking sense whatsoever. Now, was the match overall good?
Yes.
Yes, it was a good match. Did Seth booking his injuries match? Yes, it did.
They should have thrown away with the injury angle. If they were going to book that match that way and make it play out that way, they should have thrown away the injury angle, because all it did was completely, like, I had no way to believe what was happening.
Well, not only that, but him no selling his injuries and ended up ultimately winning that match. You have ruined Roman Reigns, because now Roman Reigns is the biggest pussy in the world, because
everybody lost to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's my problem with it. However, was it a good wrestling match? Yes. But with how they booked Seth Rollins just to get him fucking over, no selling injuries, but again, you have these fucking wrestling fans that, fucking they did this with Roman Reigns, they would have done this with Roman Reigns, people would have shit all over it. Well, of course they would have. I shit all over when they did it with Seth Rollins. So what's your point? You can't have shit in one hand and want in the other. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, is what I always say as well. So fuck Seth Rollins if we're gonna fuck on Roman Reigns.
Well, Seth Rollins is now getting that treatment. Yep. Seth Rollins, I'm telling you right now, is at that cusp of people really hating him, and it's because he's being like. That booking alone of him bidding without selling and becoming impervious to everything and winning, and then the legends coming out to support him, he's dangerously close to tipping to the Roman Reigns hatred scale.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate, but I'm telling you right now, he's super close to that.
I agree.
Well, and you would think that WWE would learn their lesson at some point in time, pushing people down our throats, because the fans do not want people pushed down our throats. We want people to get over in a more, what's the word?
Organic?
Yes, in a more organic way. Roman Reigns, perfect example. Like, we fucking hated Roman before. And then he comes back and they started kind of pushing him more organically. And you hear people screaming their heads off for him now.
But this thing, like, be subtle with.
Yeah.
If you want to push something, be subtle. And this doesn't even go with WWE. This is like mainstream media. If you want to push something or you want things to be accepted, be subtle about it. You don't have to be so ham. You don't have to be giving me uppercuts with like equality. You don't have to give. You don't have to be giving uppercuts with push over Seth Rollins being impervious. Like, make it believable. Make the understanding of why things should be that way. Make it an even curve, not a fucking spike up to infinity.
Is that the fucking... Is that our fucking neighbor?
I have no fucking clue who the hell it is. I just know it's another fucking redneck with a tiny dick.
Welcome to Wisconsin. Anyway.
Well,
Welcome to Tiny Dick, Wisconsin.
I mean, it sounds very, very familiar to where I live as well. So you are not alone.
No,
welcome to Tiny Dick, Minnesota.
One,
Welcome to
Go ahead,
Tiny
Bob.
Dick, fucking Midwest. Sorry,
go,
Bobby.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Buddy Murphy, Roman Reigns, 4 stars.
That was a good match.
That
I don't know
was
if
That
I give
was
it
a
4
good
stars.
match.
That was a good
I
match.
give it a good 3.75.
I would give it a 3.75 as well. Because I mean,
Yeah,
they made Buddy
that's
Murphy
fair.
look very.
I mean,
good.
it's not Gargano and Adam Cole.
No.
But the rating system makes no sense.
Yeah,
So
it
fuck
don't.
Meltzer. I hope he dies.
It's Dave Meltzer. What do you expect?
No, but did you hear? Did you hear what we were talking about? He gave Goldberg and fucking Dolph Ziggler 3 stars, and then what did he give? Who did he give 2 stars to?
Yeah, sure. I.
No, he gave that one.
Owens and Shane.
He gave Owens and Shane 2 stars. Well, Owens and Shane was a segment that didn't even deserve a star.
Right.
Oh, Balor and the Fiend was
Yeah,
2 stars.
2 stars.
He needs to put down the crack pipe.
Mhm.
But look, it's his opinion, but apparently his opinion is
It's treated as
valued.
gospel by so many.
It's treated as gospel. It's valued by many. As you know me, I could give 2 shits what Dave Meltzer says because I listened to his podcast for 5 minutes and I'm like, this guy's a fucking complete idiot. He's a fucking mark. Now, I tell you right now, if it was a Japan match, New Japan, he would have given it 10 stars.
Or AEW.
You want me to look up the Meltzer
I've never
ratings
seen
from,
him give.
from the G1 title?
Like I've rated some of the AEW matches way higher than he has. I have yet to see him give a 5-star match.
Let me rephrase this. Not AEW in itself, the Elite. If it's a match from Elite,
Yeah, because
then-
they wrestled in Japan.
Yeah.
So yeah.
sure.
Well, I mean, Kenny Omega.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going, sure. I'm just kidding.
No. No, it probably sounded like that, but didn't mean it to.
So that being said, I think that's pretty much everything. Is there any final thoughts on anything?
Fuck
That
Meltzer.
they better not fucking ruin King of Ring.
Kevin Owens 316.
They
Oh,
better not
God.
ruin who?
King of the Ring.
King of the Ring.
I think we ruined it for everybody. They're gonna be fucking, oh my god, if they do that.
Hey, Gina.
Yes.
I have a question for you, Gina. What did you think of the John Moxley Shota Umino versus Juice Robinson and Narita match?
Trying to remember that one. Was that from the last
That's
night?
from the. It was from the A Block Finals from the 10th of August.
Is that the one where Moxley went after Juice's leg at the end?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I love Umino and Moxley together. I think that those two as like a pair, they're just perfect. I don't know what it is, but they're perfect. But Moxley attacking Juice's leg like that, obviously we know that it led to Moxley versus Juice in the B Block final. Or not the final, but, the final night for the B Block.
Mm-hmm.
And Juice ultimately pinned Moxley.
Mm-hmm.
So I
okay.
think that it is setting up for Juice is going to challenge for that U.S. title again. And Juice is going to win,
Okay.
thereby escorting Moxley out.
What rating would you give that match?
It was a good match, but, I mean, that was a 2.25 at
Holy
most.
shit, mark that shit the fuck down.
Okay, that's what Meltzer gave it.
Let me guess, like a 4.75.
No, a 2.25.
Shut the fuck up! Really?
Confirmed.
Gina,
Gina
is your
Meltzer.
name your name Dave Meltzer?
I
Did you
am
get a sex
Dave
change
Meltzer.
feathers going?
He,
All right. I mean,
okay, Gina,
go ahead.
hang on. One
What?
second. Gina, didn't you say the Jeff Cobb versus the Yano match was really good?
No, Jeff Cobb versus Ishii was really good.
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, yeah, the Moxley versus Juice tag team match was a good match, but just like nowhere near. I figured you were gonna say that he gave it at least like a 3-star or whatever. It was not worth any more than a 2.25.
Anything with Yano, it shouldn't even get a star because anything that he does is nothing more than fucking around to be in a segment.
You know what though? You would be really surprised though, because
I know he
Yano
can
actually.
I know he.
No,
can
he
wrestle.
actually, yeah, this G1, he actually, he was still Yano,
Mhm.
but he pulled off some pretty surprising victories, and not even by cheating.
Right.
Do you love that Eugene match last night?
The what?
The Eugene match.
It's the same as rating a Eugene match, where the gimmick takes over the whole fucking thing.
Oh,
Right.
yeah. Which he didn't. Eugene has talked about that. He doesn't like that shit. He didn't. He would rather have been rated on his wrestling than his gimmick.
But his gimmick,
He was pretty
I
good.
hope he-
unfortunately,
oh,
took over his wrestling.
You did.
Okay, moving on.
Jesus. Sorry. All right. So. All right.
Let's get out of here, man.
All right, let's get out of here. Y'all have a great night, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful night. Thanks for being here, and it was good discussion. And next week we will talk about King of the Ring, and we should be to the semifinals of Raw and SmackDown. I think they're doing round 1, both Raw and SmackDown, and it's going to end in one round or one night.
I don't know.
I think that's what
From what I understand, yeah.
So we'll talk about what we thought of that. We'll follow this very closely on this specific show, but I'll talk about it on my review. But we'll talk about it on this show, and we'll do our predictions for the following week. So with that being said, y'all have a great night, and I hope everyone has a glorious weekend.
Wear a condom.
Fuck Dave Meltzer.
Don't wear a condom while you do that.
No movie.
Climate
Good point.
change. Climate change. Climate change.
Don't give